Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise here on Madden 25. Today we're going to embark on the Year 2 offseason, which I'm extremely excited for. As I've expressed throughout the past few episodes, we have about $200 million in cap space to work with here, along with the 11th overall and 12th overall pick in this upcoming 2026 NFL Draft. And we have 13 picks in total. A lot of those coming on day 3, but we're going to try and work some trades, move up the board a little bit, play it aggressive, as we are just going to jump right into it here. We'll take a look at the free agent pool for the first time. We see here Mark Andrews, the top tight end and the top player on the market. We were really hoping that Kyle Pitts would hit the open market, but he did sign a franchise tag there to stay with Atlanta. Still, he is disgruntled, so the Falcons are shopping him, but I don't know if we want to give up all that draft capital to, bring in Kyle Pitts, especially when a guy like Mark Andrews is on the open market. 93 overall, vertical threat at tight end, 6'5", 247. One of the best pass-catching tight ends in the NFL over the past decade or so. 87 speed with 93 catching, 95 awareness. Good route running, very good hands. 93 catch in traffic, 92 spec catch. And I think bringing in a premier tight end, currently the second-ranked tight end in the NFL, that would really, bring our offense to another level. Superstar abilities. He has the mid-in elite matchup nightmare and tight end apprentice. So I think Mark Andrews being the top guy on the market is someone we're going to have to set as our priority, and it works out that he is pretty interested, that interest bar about 60-65% filled or so. DeMarcus Lawrence here, the top defensive player, 88 overall at 34 years old, wants $26 million per year, has a few offers already. Derrick Henry, one team currently offering him at just $9.89 million per year, about $10 million per year for Derrick Henry. He is probably going to have some regression after this first season with a new team, but still getting him at 88 overall, definitely going to be a very good piece on offense. Taylor Moton, the top offensive tackle, which we really are hoping to upgrade. He wants over $20 million per year, so I don't know if we're going to jump on him right away. No offers at this point, so we'll hold off, see how his interest goes. Adafi Owe out of Penn State, $18.4 million per year. Take a look at his card. We do want to add a pass rusher here, 85 overall power rusher. 89 speed with 88 power move, 75 block shed, 85 pursuit. Very good speed to strength combo at 89, 80 respectively. Run stopper. We probably would have him at D end though in our system, probably at left end to complement Xavier Thomas. Kendall Fuller, the top corner. I was really hoping that Charvarius Ward from San Francisco would hit the market, but I guess he stayed there with the 49ers. So Kendall Fuller is the top corner in free agency. 31 years old, has been around for quite a while. 88 speed with 84 man, 87 zone. Pretty well balanced, although he is more of a zone guy at this point of his career. Maybe we can move him inside as our slot corner if we are able to draft one of the top corners in this year's draft class, which we are trying to do. We'll take a look at that draft board here shortly. We have Chris Whitworth as our top priority in the draft. The top corner out of Buffalo, top 5 on the overall board. And now we'll just start going by position. Gardner Minshew, the top quarterback on the market. He has an offer right now, as well as Desmond Ridder, Zach Wilson, no offers. So, not much here on the quarterback market. The top 3 teams in the draft, it's Seattle, Jacksonville, and Tennessee, all projected to go quarterback, which works out because the top 3 overall players on this year's board happen to be quarterbacks. At running back, we saw Derrick Henry. Rashad White, he has one offer, only wants about $5.5 million per year. Not bad. Dameon Pierce, he has an offer as well at $5.5. So he and White, they're not really demanding much. They probably would be upgrades over Trey Benson, but we're not going to prioritize running back in this opening stage as we can only start with 5 active negotiations. But Elijah Mitchell, someone maybe as a backup plan, he's interested along here with Jerome Ford, 2 younger, elusive backs who do fit our system. Aaron Jones maybe as a third down back, I wouldn't mind that. Now 31 years old, of course, regressing a little bit at 79 overall now. Alvin Kamara here at 77 overall, maybe bring him in as a third down back. Now at 31 years old, is regressing, only at 84 speed. I would never really bring in a running back with that low of speed, but he's crafty. He knows how to work the slot. He can catch the ball out of the backfield very well. So maybe we bring him in as an upgrade over Austin Eckler in that similar role. But we also do need a power back. Zamir White, maybe someone we think about. A.J. Dillon, another potential option. But as we said, we're not going to prioritize running back early on in free agency. At fullback, Patrick Ricard, 82 overall, he's out there, but we're just going to stick with Kerry Blasingame at receiver. Mike Evans, now at 33 years old, 84 overall, 6'5", 231. He would be a nice compliment there to Marvin Harrison Jr., even if it's only for a year or two. I was really hoping Jameson Williams was going to hit free agency, but he re-signed a 4-year deal there with the Lions. And Mike Evans, super consistent over the past decade plus, so I think maybe we prioritize him as well, trying to get him on this offense along with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kadarius Toney to fill out our receiving room. Really, no one else that would really serve as an upgrade on our offense. Alan Lazard is interested, but a poor man's Mike Evans, and that might even be generous. John Mechie III, maybe if we miss out on Evans, we go for Mechie just to complete our receiving core as a replacement for Jahan Dotson. Jalen Coker has some interest, but I think Mike Evans really is going to be the only focus. Mecole Hardman is interested as well. Evans doesn't currently have any offers, wants about $15 million per year, so we don't really have to go at him right from the start, depending on who else we decide to go after. So Mark Andrews, I think, is going to be the number one guy we go after. Currently has 13 teams offering him, so it's going to be quite the bidding war here for Andrews. He does like that we have our franchise quarterback, does not like our location, and does not like our Super Bowl odds at this point, but if he is a guy who signs, he would certainly help our efforts tremendously on that front. But at 30 years old, it is realistic to think he is going to start regressing after this first season, so I would not want to sign him beyond 4 years. 5 years is just a little too much for my liking, so I think we will bump it up here to very player-friendly, but go down to 4 years. We'll kind of leave the numbers here the same, $17 million per year in guaranteed money. We could also, restructure this down the stretch, or down the line, I mean. So that's a 4-year, $92 million offer if my calculations are correct there for Mark Andrews. And it looks like it's either going to be us or the Chargers. And still, offering that contract, we still have $176 million in cap space and not even a dent into what we're working with. And maybe I should even go back in and up that offer a little bit just to give us a little more leeway there against the Chargers. But we'll leave that for now. We'll revisit that left tackle. And definitely Rasheed Walker or Ikem Ekonwu are going to be priority here at left tackle. Orlando Brown Jr., not a bad backup plan, but both of these guys very young still at just 26 and 25 years old respectively there for Walker and Ekonwu. Ekonwu, of course, a former top 10 draft pick. Very good athletically with 75 speed, 93 strength. Walker, though, better awareness there at 87 to 80. Better pass blocker by more than 10 points, but Ekonwu is good pass block power, although the pass block finesse just at 69, but much better as a run blocker, as Walker does not really serve as a good run blocker whatsoever. Ekonwu does have the advantage there for lead block and impact block. Only one offer to this point, and he's demanding $16 million. So I wouldn't even mind going $20 million on a 5-year deal, something like that. Maybe an overpay, but that's just the way the market is. I think we'll go very player friendly here. 4 years at an even $80 million at 83 overall. Still has a lot of room to grow at just 25 years old. So looks like we're battling there with the Cincinnati Bengals. And after those offers to Andrews and Ekonwu, still over $100 million to work with. At left guard, Joel Bitonio, 34 years old, wants $15 million, a little bit out of our range at this point because we still have a ways to go here. Not really going to focus at left guard. Ryan Kelly and Garrett Bradbury, who is interested at 77 overall, would serve as a slight upgrade over Cade Mays, but Mays had a good season for us, so I think we'll just stand pat with him for another season unless maybe we get an upgrade in the draft at one spot. Right guard, Daniel Falele, Ed Ingram here. No interest in signing, though. Go over to right tackle. Taylor Moton, we saw, is demanding over $20 million, so we're going to hold off on that, see how much cap space we have to work with. Maybe sign him to a 1-2-year deal if it works out that way. Now at left end, we have DeMarcus Lawrence, maybe a little bit older now at 34 years old, and he wants over $25 million, so not really what we're looking for. Kwity Paye, though, a lot cheaper at $12 million per year, less than half of what Lawrence is demanding, and he's 7 years younger, not quite as impactful, but Kwity Paye, a power rusher, is a scheme fit. 79 overall run stopper as well. No finesse move, but 78 power move with 77 block shed. Pretty well balanced with 85 speed, 86 strength. So we saw Owe there, was a free agent as well, right outside linebacker. Someone we probably would move up to left end. So maybe Paye or Owe is who we're going to target there for our left end spot. Any other pass rushers here of note? Not really. At D tackle, we already have Caleb Patton up to an 80 overall after a very good rookie season. Also Darius Robinson coming off a Pro Bowl, so don't really need to look at that spot. Right end, really no pass rushers that would serve as an upgrade. Left outside linebacker, Andrew Van Ginkel, someone I'm very intrigued by at 31 years old, 85 overall. Speed rusher archetype, but Very well balanced across the board. Just an impact guy. 88 speed, 85 finesse, 86 pursuit, block shed, and zone a little bit low, but I think he came off a very good season. I was looking at numbers before, so 57 tackles, 6 for loss, 9 sacks, a career high, 2 pass deflections. I think he would serve as a nice strong side linebacker in our 4-3 set. And there's Joey Bosa here. Now, 82 overall at 31 years old. Still a good pass rusher, 79 speed, 85 block shed, 86 finesse, 80 power move, 89 pursuit, 90 play rec, 87 strength. So still, some gas left in the tank here for Bosa. Maybe someone we add to bolster our defensive line, upgrade our pass rush a little bit, as we do need to try to bolster that unit. So Bosa, Owe, or Pay, maybe 2 out of those 3 we pursue here. We see Odafe Owe, 85 overall at 27 years old. A little bit better than Pay. Faster, stronger, more well-balanced, although at 75 block shed, wish that was a little bit higher. What is he demanding compared to Pay? So Owe here is demanding almost 20 million, whereas Pay down here is demanding a fraction of that at just 12 million per year. So I think one of those guys we are going to have to offer here. Both are being pursued. Also, Quay Walker here, right outside linebacker. Would like to add another linebacker. We talked about Van Ginkel, but Walker with some better football ahead of him, as he's 5 years younger. 88 speed, 78 block shed. Not the best in coverage at 64 zone, but with his athletic profile, 92 tackle, 93 pursuit, I think going coverage-wise, going forward with that star development is a spot we can improve. So we have some tempting options here in the front 7 in terms of off-ball linebackers here in Walker and Van Ginkel, who is even someone who could play up on the line there at D-end if you wanted him to. And all those guys are receiving offers. So we have to make a decision. Bosa, currently no offers, so we can hold off on him if we do want to offer him down the line. That middle linebacker, Ivan Pace Jr. and Nakobe Dean, 2 young guys over 80 overall. Pace Jr. with that star dev, but not interested in playing for us whatsoever. Devon Diablo at 75 overall, pretty solid there. Otherwise, really no, game changers at this point. So we have 2 active negotiations right now, and now we have to make a decision. I think Van Ginkel will hold off on just because he has no offers along here with Bosa. But Quay Walker is a guy I think we want to bring in. Not the most dynamic, with that lack of coverage, but once that goes up a little bit, maybe a Pro Bowler in the making. So he wants about $11 million per year, 5 years, which would bring him to his age 31 season, which I wouldn't mind at all. We'll even go there. Player friendly, but bump it back down to 5 years. Lower the salary and bonus a little bit and see where that puts us, as that does put us in a very good spot as the top offer. I think we'll even go down to 4 years. Lower the bonus a little bit, but bring that salary up, which puts it at an even $11 million per year. And we are still the top team there for Quay Walker. And now just 2 more offers we can make. We definitely want to offer Kendall Fuller here. Just by default, really no game-breaking options here as far as corners go, but Fuller at 85 overall, very versatile. Could even play him back at safety if you wanted. 85 zone, 84 there for man and slot. We already looked at his ratings, and we just really need that corner, with experience that's been around playing at a high level for a while. We have Max Melton, who's been playing very well, but really just need a good counterpart for him. If not in the draft, definitely want to add someone here in free agency. So he only wants 1 year, which I don't mind going for. We'll even bump it up a little bit, give him an even $10 million. And see where that puts us as we are battling here with Denver, LA, and the Raiders. We'll even just go up to an even $11 million for him and see where that puts us. Should raise us on the bar a little bit, as it does put us to the top of the list. And now we're not even going to bother with safeties. Kevin Byard, the top guy here, Malik Hooker, Marcus Williams, Elijah Molden. That strong safety. Jordan Whitehead does have interest, but we're already set with Jalen Thompson and Matthew Torrance, who's going to enter his 2nd season. So let's compare Pay and Owe a little bit real quick. 85 speed, 86 strength for Kwity Paye, 77 awareness, 75 play rec, 79 power move, no finesse move at all, 77 block shed, pretty good tackle, hit power, and pursuit. And now we'll go over here to Owe, who has 89 speed, 80 strength, so a little bit better than Paye there with higher awareness, higher play rec. The block shed about the same, but a higher power move and a higher finesse move, I believe, a little bit more well-rounded. But $20 million per year here for Owe, is that worth it? I mean, at 4 years, I don't really mind it as much. We're not going to really have any overlap there with Lucas McDonald, our franchise quarterback, once his contract comes off the books, which is why I don't really mind going so crazy here in this free agency period, because we have so much excess cap that we just might as well spend it, So I think we'll go up to 5.5, go down to 13 there for the bonus, which would be 4 years at $74 million. And that puts us below Tampa Bay, Seattle, and Las Vegas. And I really don't like, throwing out all this money, but, still even pursuing away here. We still have over $100 million in cap space. So the figure that we have to work with is pretty ridiculous. And we could always restructure some of these contracts down the line. So I think we'll go up to 6 million for the salary. Go up to 14 for the bonus, bring it to an even 80 million. I think it's the same exact contract we're offering Ekonwu there at offensive tackle, but we're still trailing those other teams. At this point, though, we can just go to the targeted tab. So Andrews, we're just battling here with the Chargers. I think we are going to have to bump up his contract just to be safe. And we are pursuing away Fuller, Walker, guys who really don't even have interest in playing. But Walker, we are number 1 on his board right now. Not the most convincing offer, but the Jets and Washington not doing much better. Ekonwu, we are even with the Bengals, but we are atop them on this board. I think we might have to bump him up a little bit just to be safe as well. So away, it might get ridiculous bidding for him. I don't know if we're just better off taking a cheaper option than Kwity Paye instead, getting more of a bargain there. So Quay Walker, we're good. I think Ekonwu, we are going to try and bump it up a little bit. So again, we'll bump it up to very player friendly. And this is what the structure we had before. 4 years, 10 million for salary, 10 million for bonus. I think we'll bump these up both another $500,000 and put them up to 84 million now. Hopefully that puts us over the Bengals there comfortably, as we can establish our new franchise left tackle. Walker, like I said, we are going to stand pat with. Fuller, I think we'll even go up to 12 million for him, just to give him a stronger bid. Really want him on the roster for next season, and we'll even go up a little bit more in these spots, give him 12.4 on 1-year contract, as that does put us ahead of Denver, LA, and Las Vegas. And now Mark Andrews want to bump his offer up as well, keep it at 4 years, but we'll put the salary up to 6.5, the bonus up to 16, which would be 4 years at 90 million. And I would think that's enough to bring him home, but we are still under LA there. But I think our offer is just, we offered him a lot. I think we offered a little bit over the market value, or not a little bit, but a good bit over the market value. And I think here we'll get back on the bidding here for Odafe Owe. I think we'll bring the salary up to 7.5, keep that bonus around 15. So this is 4 years at 90 million. Another huge contract offer here, and that's not going to really do it. So I think we'll just go for Kwity Paye instead on that, big discount. We don't want to go too over the top here with some of these offers. We still have a few more to get to. We want to try and make a run at Mike Evans. We want to make a run at Andrew Van Ginkel, and we can't just throw all our eggs into this year's baskets. We got to save some for next year. We can't just go too much this season. And now for Paye, we'll go 3 years at 43.5. And I think that should be enough, as that does put us up there with Tampa Bay and New Orleans. So after all these offers, still 120 million to work with. I think Mike Evans, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Joey Bosa are really the only guys we want to make a run at, in addition to maybe Alvin Kamara, Zamir White, AJ Dillon, maybe one of those guys to really add to our backfield, as Trey Benson, the only back on the roster right now. So we are going to just skip ahead here in this eval period. And it looks like we did sign Mark Andrews. I see that right here. DeMarcus Lawrence signs with the Giants. He stays in division. Derrick Henry also goes to the Giants. Look at that. The Giants making moves. Odafe Owe does sign with Tampa Bay. And Kendall Fuller also signs with the Snowhawks. So we get 2 of our guys. Andrew Van Ginkel now getting an offer, but since we did sign those guys, we have another contract spot to offer. Mike Evans also getting 2 offers, so we are going to have to jump on Van Ginkel and Mike Evans in this spot. Quay Walker also signs with the Snowhawks, as does Ekonwu. So we're 4 for 4. Ivan Pace Jr. also to the Buccaneers. So they add Pace and Odafe Owe, as they're really bolstering their defense. Joey Bosa also a few contract offers now at this point, so we're going to have to jump on them. Kwity Paye also signs with the Snowhawks, so my signings, we got all 5 of our guys, which was a step up from last year. We missed out on really all of our top targets, but we kind of learned from that, overpaid really as much as we could. 4 years, 90 million for Mark Andrews. Fuller gets 1 year at 12.4. Quay Walker 4 years at 44 million. Ikem Ekonwu gets 4 years at 84 million, and Kwity Paye gets 3 years at 43.5. So now our next focus here, as we are going to have to make an offer here to Mike Evans. Really probably just a 2-year deal at 33 years old. Still one of the best in the league. Just the longevity he's had is absolutely absurd. I would feel more comfortable going on a 1-year contract, but he wants a little bit more than that. So the baseline here is 2 years at 33.4. We'll lower the bonus there to 8 million, put the salary up to 9. So we'll go 2 years at 34 million and see where that puts us. It does put us under Vegas. So we are going to raise it, put the bonus up to 8.8. We'll go salary at 9.5. So we'll do 2 years at 36.6. Revisit, and still under Vegas. So they're really going in here on Mike Evans. I think we might have to go just like 2 years, 36 million just to make this happen. We'll even go a little bit higher than that. Go 2 years, 37 million. And I don't think that's really going to put us over Vegas. Might have to just go 2 years, 40 million and call it a day here for Mike Evans. Put the salary up to $10 million. The bonus up to 9. I guess go 9.5, make it 2 years, 39. And that's probably not going to be enough either. But even, going after Evans here would still leave us with like over 100 million in cap space, or maybe just under it. So like I said, I think we will just stick with the 2 years and we'll go 40 million for him. And I would think that's going to be enough. It's crazy how much you have to overpay, but that is how the market goes. And still not going to be enough. So he really has no interest whatsoever in playing for Salt Lake. I mean, we gave it a good run. We really tried getting him, but he just has no motivations. He wants to play in warm weather. He wants to play for a historic team, and he wants to play in a big market. So Las Vegas definitely has us beat in all those categories. I did say we wanted to look at John Mechie here. No offers for him right now. 76 overall playmaker. Former Houston Texan at 90 speed, 92 acceleration, 87 agility. Very well balanced as a route runner, catching, no major strengths, but no weaknesses either. So I think he could serve as a good complement in our offense. But Mike Evans really just is so polarizing and would really add so much. I think we really just have to I think we put it to 3 years. That might do it, but I really don't want him for 3 years. What if we tried over 40, like 42 million for 2 seasons, Mike Evans? And that got us in the green at least, but still under Vegas. So I think we're going to have to throw in the towel on Mike Evans. We got Mark Andrews. I think we can be happy with that. And we really did give it the good old college try there for Evans. Rondale Moore, Calvin Austin. I really wish they had, star Dev. And the fact that John Mechie here is interested, I do like that. Also Devin Duvernay, but still not getting offers, so we don't really have to worry about them at this point. We'll go over to Joey Bosa now. See if we can get another pass rusher in here along with Kwity Paye. Also, Van Ginkel we need to offer as well. Van Ginkel wants almost $20 million. Only one team offering him right now. Coming off a very good season there in Minnesota. 2 years at $36 million, 18 per. And that does put us ahead of New Orleans, so we'll just leave it at that for now. And we still have over $100 million to work with now. Joey Bosa, going to offer him a 2-year deal, put the salary up to 5. 2 years, $21 million. And that does put us over Tampa Bay, New York, and Cincinnati. So we might even be able to just get away with even a lower offer. Go 2 years at $20 million. And we still are ahead of those teams over by 2 bars. So we put in offers now for Van Ginkel and Joey Bosa, which now has us sitting at 93.3 in cap space. Really no one else I think we wanted to make a true run at. Going to definitely look at running backs though, see what's going on there with Kamara. White is also still on the market, as well as Dameon Pierce. Tyler Algier now getting some offers at 86 speed. The power back with star development though. Elijah Mitchell is interested along with Jerome Ford, but Kamara, still no interest from him. So I think we might be able to get him on a very cheap 1-year deal. You love that receiving back mold that he brings with 75 catching, 79 short, 75 medium route, which is very well balanced, been around for a long time. And I think bringing in, an established veteran like him, even if it is for his final season, I really don't mind that. So I think we'll go 1 year and we'll go down to maybe $3 million for him. And I think that might be enough, although just red there on the offer meter. So we had 2 bars at least. I think we'll 3.5. Give him a little more respectable offer there. As it is now up to 3 bars at least, we'll take that. And then we wanted to add a power back as well. We have James Conner, who is interested. Spent the last 2 years with the Giants. And they now have Derrick Henry, like the 87 trucking, 85 stiff arm. Only wants 3.3 per year. Also had Zamir White, a little bit younger at 26 years old. And then it was A.J. Dillon down here at 28 years old. So really just got to decide what power back we want to go with. Zamir White does have a little more potential, at his age. 91 speed acceleration with 86 trucking. Very close to an elusive back mold as well, which would make him a scheme fit. And now we'll go down and look at James Conner here. Imagine adding Conner and Alvin Kamara here in their final years to our backfield. 87 trucking for him with 85 stiff arm. Not as fast as Zamir White, but good elusive traits as well. And then there was A.J. Dillon, 71 overall, 88 speed, 85 strength with 83 trucking. Only 76 agility though. So I think it comes down to White and James Conner, but I think we'll lean with Zamir White, just like his skill set a little bit more, a little bit younger. Offer him a 1 or 2 year deal. I think we'll even go down to team friendly at 1 year for $2.9 million, just making a little bit less there than Alvin Kamara if he does decide to accept that contract. So right now we have Van Ginkel, Bosa, Kamara, White, which would bring us to 9 signings if we are able to get these guys. Let's go over to right tackle, see what's going on with Taylor Moton. He does have 2 offers at this point, but at $22 million per year, I think we're out on him. We still have a lot of cap room to work with, but we don't want to get overzealous in all the madness here. Definitely want to play it cool. We have spent a lot of money. We don't need to do anything over the top, especially, like I said, want to save some going forward. We can't just throw it all away on one season. There was a middle linebacker I think we wanted to offer because we don't have many on the roster. So adding a depth guy down here would be something I'd be interested in. Diablo, not bad there. Just $5 million per year is what he wants. Nick Niemann, I think we'll just offer him a 1 year deal at like 2.5. Not sure if he's going to accept that, but really just need linebacker depth. So for that, I think we're pretty much good with our offers. I think John Mechie we're going to revisit, but we are going to skip ahead another eval period here and see what we're working with. So targeted, we still have Bosa now as his negotiations really ramping up. The Bengals, Jets, Bucks, Saints now tied with us. Kamara is still the only team to offer him along there with Zamir White. Same story with Nick Niemann. And we did get Andrew Van Ginkel to sign. He signs a 2 year, $36 million contract, as we've now added Van Ginkel and Quay Walker to our linebacking core to join Jack Gibbons there. But it looks like we are going to have to up the offer here for Joey Bosa. I think we'll just go up to 2 years, $25 million, 6.5 for the salary. We'll bring the bonus up to $6 million. And I think that should do it for him. Although we did drop there on the list, but we even upped the offer, so I'm not sure what that's about. So again, we'll just skip ahead another eval period here, which will bring us to the end of this first week of free agency. And Bosa did go away from the screen, and he did sign with our Snowhawks. So flawless on our offers so far, and even with all these big signings, we're still at $81.9 million in cap space. So I think we've really nailed this offseason so far to start. Our current targets now Kamara, White, and Nick Niemann. Still no offers from them. Should go over to receiver here. I think we'll give John Mechie an offer. Mike Evans does, in fact, sign with the Las Vegas Raiders. And John Mechie signed. We didn't get to him quick enough as he signs with the Saints. So all of a sudden, we are in the market now for a wide receiver. I think we'll look to the trade block here and see if there's anyone available on that front. So now we are set to advance here to free agency 2, or stage 2 of free agency, however you want to call it. We are going to have mock draft 5 available. But before that, we are going to have some draft news here. We see Jonathan Coachman tweets about Mitch Floyd, who was one of our targets at pick number 11 or 12. Still probably going to address offensive tackle with one of those picks. He says Mitch Floyd didn't answer any of the questions I had about him at the Michigan Pro Day. Disappointing. So he's up there as a top tackle in this class along with Delvin Barner of Georgia. But Barner, always the guy we preferred. So we might have to be aggressive, maybe make a move up the board for him. The Broncos have signed Khalil Mack. Another draft story. Wide receiver Morris Allen ran through his athletic testing, then went home before he did his positional drills without comment. Interesting decision there. And then Matthew Berry tweets, running back Joshua Noble had a nice pro day and showed that he's capable of things that he never had the chance to put on film. So Joshua Noble, going to have to check him out. Taylor Moton goes to the Broncos. Damian Pierce still on the market. Joel Bitonio goes to the Buccaneers. Mike Evans goes to the Raiders, as we saw. And the Giants, 1 year, $26 million there for Lawrence. 2 years, $19.8 million for Derrick Henry. We see our Mark Andrews signs a 4 year, $90 million contract. And then we see Justice Core, USC center, made 225 pounds look like it was nothing, rep after rep, and ends up as a top performer in the bench press. So we'll go ahead and check out the mock draft 5. The final one here, as Byron Snow has been number 1 overall to the Seahawks in every single mock draft so far. The number 1 player on the board looks to be a franchise quarterback, one of the best in the league here in the near future. Jacksonville projected to move on from Trevor Lawrence, even though they just signed him to an extension, as they're going to go with Aaron McClure out of Michigan State projected. at least David Witt here to the Titans out of Penn State, as they're going to move on from Kyler Murray. The Patriots going with Pat Lewis here, the top receiver out of Ohio State. Damian Spencer there to Las Vegas, top pass rusher in the draft out of California. And then here's Chris Whitworth, who we really want to make a play on. He comes back with a top 5 talent grade, and he's actually the number 1 player on our overall board. So we have picks 11 and 12. We might look to trade up maybe into the top 5 perhaps. Hopefully Whitworth slides a little bit more, but we certainly can't count on that. Delvin Barner here, I mentioned him, the top tackle in this year's class, projected to go to Cleveland. So Whitworth and Barner are top targets, even though Barner does have that round 2 to 3 grade. He tested extremely well, and we'll look at some combine results here shortly. But that would be a dagger if we miss out on both Whitworth and Barner. Dimitri Dupree, the top running back, projected to go to the Giants, even though they just signed Derrick Henry. Hopefully that doesn't happen for realistic sake. Mitch Floyd, who we just saw a draft story on, projected number 9 to Washington. Jerry Gilmore, the second wide receiver off the board, goes to Miami. Then we get into our picks. They have us going Donovan Jordan, offensive tackle out of Louisville, comes back as around 3 to 4 grade, so definitely not going him. We do have him on our watch list, but wouldn't touch him until the 2nd or 3rd round, especially after that grade. And they have us going Damon Curley, who we featured in last episode's thumbnail, as they have us going with him again. We had him in mock draft 4 and also now in mock draft 5. Curley, a very good tight end prospect, but we just signed Mark Andrews, so probably not a need. Also, Ben Murray here at 14, another very good tight end prospect, but probably out on tight end after signing Mark Andrews, although both of these guys I was excited for, but just not a need at this spot anymore. Number 13, they have B.J. Roan, one of the top pass rushers, going to Indy. And then going down to 15, Jabari Simmons to the Carolina Panthers, same as last mock draft. And then at 16, Cade Moreland to the Atlanta Falcons, the top interior lineman in this year's draft. And the more I think about it, the more I think I'm open to drafting him up here at 11 or 12. I'm hoping we could maybe make a trade up for Barner or Whitworth. We'll see how it goes. Maybe Barner, and then maybe we can go Cade Moreland with the 2nd pick in the 1st round. Even if we have to trade down a little bit, we'll see how it goes. But I think he's going to be a very, very good player, and I think we're going to use him as one of our prospects in the private workouts that'll come up here soon. Jeff Underwood, our 2nd-rated corner in this year's class. If we miss out on Whitworth, Underwood would be a very good consolation prize there at 6'3", 201, projected to go to Denver. Cincinnati projected here a pass rusher, J.R. Decker out of Clemson. Tanner Ellsworth, a D tackle to New Orleans. Skylar Goddard, a receiver to Minnesota. Steve Fisher, a pass rusher to San Francisco. A couple D tackles here. Christine Cameron, a very good offensive tackle prospect to the Chargers. Although like Barner and Floyd, he gets a round 2 to 3 grade despite a round 1 projection. James Hobbs, receiver to the Packers. DeAndre Weber, another very good corner in this year's class, projected 26 to the Steelers. Jamal Stoutmeyer, another corner. Wyatt Preston, a tackle to the Eagles. Ladarius Shields, a receiver to Detroit out of Ohio State. Donovan Davis, a corner to the Jets. NFC champion Dallas Cowboys going with Marcus Dawson. And the Chiefs going with Josh Chaney, D-end out of Michigan. We're now back in free agency. We're now into phase 2 of this year 2 offseason free agency. We'll look at kickers and punters now. We do have to replace Rodrigo Blankenship, who is still on the market. We have some interest here from Tim McMillan, a 2nd-year man there out of Washington. But going up here, Jake Bates just won kicker of the year there in the NFC, but sits here on the market, the strongest leg at 98. I think we even did have him a couple years ago, but just lost, the starting job there to Blankenship, who's now moved on as our kicker. Joshua Carty here with star development out of Stanford, 97 kick power, 82 kick accuracy, with 75 speed. Star dev kicker, you don't really see that. So I think Joshua Carty here will make a run at. We'll even go 2 years for him, give him $7.6 million, one of the highest paid kickers. Definitely not, higher paid than or Justin Tucker, currently bidding there with Tampa Bay. We'll just leave it at that for now. So we still have negotiations here with Kamara, Carty, Zamir White, and Nick Neiman. We'll go ahead through this eval period, and we see 2 go off the board there. And we'll see, we did sign Kamara, and we signed Joshua Carty. So our strategy of, just really overpaying the market value, typically what you have to do to secure these guys, is working out. Now Zamir White and Nick Neiman, we'll just sim ahead again. Neither have signed. We'll sim ahead again, and still neither have signed. So that does bring us now to the end of the 2nd stage, moving a little quicker here as we're trying to move through the draft, now simming into stage 3 of free agency, which I believe is the last stage here to sign free agents. And we'll now take a look again at the board, still targeting here just Zamir White, the only guy that has not signed. We did bring in Alvin Kamara already And again, we'll just keep going through. It looks like he might have signed by now, as he has. So just review the signings real quick here. Mark Andrews, going to, bring another dimension to our offense. I stressed how much a tight end of his caliber would help things. So now Andrews, Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to be the top 2 options in the passing game. And of course, still have Kadarius Toney. I did mention we want to check out the trade market, see if anyone is available. Kendall Fuller going to be our number 1 corner. I'm going to try and get him a sidekick in the draft to go along there with Max Melton as well. Andrew Van Ginkel signs a 2-year deal. An impact linebacker, going to team up here with Quay Walker, a young guy at 26 years old. A lot of potential for him. Ikem Ekonwu, we finally lock up our left tackle spot as we gave him an $84 million contract over 4 years. Joey Bosa, one of the best pass rushers over the last 10 years or so, signs a 2-year, $25 million deal. Kwity Paye also brought in to shore up our pass rush unit. Alvin Kamara, the experienced long-time running back, going to emerge as our 3rd down back. Joshua Carty, we get a star development kicker. Zamir White, going to be our power back. Still some potential from him at just 26 years old. And then Nick Neiman just adding some depth to our linebacking core. We'll just sim ahead now to the end as we have made all the signings we're going to make. And we'll do a little review here. We get the top guy in Mark Andrews. Lawrence goes to the Giants along with Derrick Henry. Taylor Moton to the Broncos. Odafe Owe to the Buccaneers. We get Fuller and Van Ginkel. A.J. Cole unsigned, an 85 overall punter. Mike Evans to Las Vegas. A lot of top punters up here go unsigned. Joel Bitonio to Tampa Bay. Rasheed Walker there to Carolina, along there with Ryan Kelly as they bolster their offensive line. Quay Walker we sign. Khalil Mack to the Broncos for maybe his last season in the league. We get Ekonwu. Damian Pierce goes to Washington. DJ Reader to Las Vegas. Ivan Pace Jr. to the Buccaneers. We get Joey Bosa. Rashad White to New Orleans, replacing Alvin Kamara there. Tyler Algier to the Packers. Nakobe Dean also to the Saints. We get Kwity Paye. Zadarius Smith to Denver. Rondell Moore to Seattle. Rasul Douglas to the Buccaneers. Buccaneers very active here. Malik Hooker back to the Saints. Isaac Samalo to the Giants. Jermaine Pratt to the Buccaneers. Aaron Jones goes unsigned. Calvin Austin to the Buccaneers. Another signing for them. Jordan Whitehead to Denver. Another team that was very active. And Mika McFadden goes back to the Giants. They cut him prior to last season. We signed him. He had a great year. And then they signed him back for about $30 million over 3 years. Mack Wilson to the Jets. We get Kamara. Daniel Falele to the Chargers. Garrett Bradbury to Denver. And Harold Landry back to the Titans. We have now advanced. Free agency is officially behind us, and now we can set our private workouts as we have 3 players to choose from. And I think I already know one that we're going to go with. Cade Moreland here, 8th on the overall board. I talked about him a little bit. 6'2", 327 right guard out of LSU. A for pass block, run block. That awareness and impact block is going to be A to C. And he tested the best of perhaps any interior lineman in this year's draft class. We see A for lead block, pass block, finesse, run block. C for pass block power and run block power, and everything else A to C besides stamina. So I think Moreland, the more I think about it, the more I think we might land him at pick 11 or 12 if he falls there. So we definitely want to get him fully scouted, as we might spend a first-round pick on him along with Mitch Floyd, maybe Delvin Barner. Not sure how we're going to play it. We also would love to get Chris Whitworth here, has that top 5 talent grade, and he's going to be a lockdown corner. But there were other options at corner. I think Jeff Underwood here, 6'3", 201 out of Georgia. A for catching, B for man and zone, C for press is a scheme fit. Tested very well at a 4.35 40, 19 reps, which led all corners at the combine. Second there in the vertical jump, and then pretty respectable numbers otherwise. B for man and zone, as we said. B for block shed, C for play rec and press and tackle. So a pretty well-rounded corner, tested very well. And I think if we are unable to get Chris Whitworth, I think Jeff Underwood a very good consolation prize. And then we also like DeAndre Weber a lot, 6', 203 out of Kansas. Not quite the same size as Underwood, but a little bit faster, better 3-cone and 40-yard shuttle. Not as strong, but 2 very good corners here. And Weber, another good profile here with C block shed, awareness, play rec, press, tackle, and B for zone and man. So I like both of these guys. I'm not really sure who's better than the other. I think we like Underwood a little bit more just with that 6'3" size on the outside. You love that length with that athletic profile. I don't think there was really anyone else. I thought about maybe going Dom Gilmore here, 6'2", 260, a day 3 guy just to get him fully scouted. He had a draft story on him earlier in the season. B for block shed. Not the best numbers at the combine, but we would put him up at D end, which would put his numbers a little bit better comparatively there to linebackers. Middle linebacker, we already have Jerry Sexton, who was projected round 3 to 4 guy, but came back as a round 1 to 2 grade. Very good combine from him. 4.51 at the combine, 4.47 at his pro day. Ranked 2nd in bench press, 3-cone and then 4th in the vertical jump 40-yard shuttle. So he was top 5 in pretty much every athletic category besides broad jump. A, awareness, B for block shed, zone, tackle, catching, C for hit power, pursuit, play rec, and man. A very good prospect here, Jerry Sexton. We already used our focus scouting on him earlier in the season. Definitely want to target him probably in round 2 or 3. I think round 3 would probably be testing the waters a little bit too much. We saw a huge run on linebackers at that spot in last year's draft. So I think we will double up on corners here, go with Underwood and DeAndre Weber, just see who's a little bit better at this spot, as those are our backup plans if we do miss out on Chris Whitworth. And the more I think about it, the more I think we might miss out on him. Ultimately, I think we might end up going with one of these tackles here in Delvin Barner, Mitch Floyd, or maybe even Christine Cameron here at left tackle. And we will delve into our draft board a little bit more here shortly, but I want to get these private workouts done just so we can get these guys fully scouted. So now Cade Moreland, confirm that, and we'll call it a day. We should get those draft grades back on them after this next advancement, as we are going to officially go ahead and advance to the NFL draft, and we are going to go ahead and look at the grades for those players that we just scouted. I'm pretty sure Cade Moreland's going to come back as a top 5 guy, as he does, so we get Moreland graded as a top 5 talent, A across the board there for awareness, impact, pass block, and run block. As we said, tested very, very well at the combine and his pro day, and pretty much A's everywhere. The only thing that isn't an A is pass block and run block power, both at C, that's stamina at D. So Cade Moreland going to be a blue chip interior lineman, a future all-pro at just 21 years old, 6'2", 327. So I think we have to make him a priority now. So with Moreland and now Chris Whitworth, we have 2 of the top 5 talents in this draft uncovered. I'm sure Byron Snow is in that same grouping, maybe even McClure and David Witt here. But now we can go over to corner and take a look at Weber and Underwood. And they do both come back as round 1 talents, so they're both going to be very good players. Underwood gets A for catching, B man zone, C for press, tested very well. And nothing at a D, so everything C or better there. C for awareness, play rec, tackle, B for man, block shed, zone, and kick return. Also stamina, so 2 very good guys here. And, you know, it didn't really help our cause. We were trying to see if one had the upper hand, but they both come back as round 1 picks. B catching, man, and zone for Weber. C for press, tested very well. C awareness, block shed, play rec, hit power. Does have D for stamina, but B or C everywhere else. So if we miss out on Whitworth, we definitely have solid options in Underwood and Weber. And still, I think I do prefer Underwood with that size and length he presents on the perimeter. So now we're ready to kind of spruce up our draft board. At this point, we have sorted by rank here on our favorites. 90 players on our board, but I think close to a third of that are undrafted free agents. So offline now. At this point, I am going to have to shuffle the board, and we'll revisit here shortly. And just like that, our draft board is now all tidied up as we have Chris Whitworth, the number 1 player on the board. Top 5 projection did live up to that after scouting. We looked at him a little bit before, but A zone, B man, D press. The only real blemish as far as his skills go is A awareness with C catching, hit power, play rec, B tackle. And the more I think about it, the more I think we might try and trade up to pick number 6 or 7 there with Chicago or Cleveland. Use pick 12, maybe a 3rd and or 4th rounder I would think would be enough to get it done, but we'll see. Top 5 tested in every category, although at his pro day, that broad jump did go down by almost a foot. Not sure what that's about, but otherwise tested very good. So it looks every bit of a lockdown corner, a true number 1 here at the NFL level. As I said, I think we are going to try and work a trade up there for Whitworth. And also definitely want to select Cade Moreland, who we have number 3 on our board. A across the board there for awareness, impact, pass, and run block. 6'2", 327, only 21 years old. And was pretty much number 1 in every single category across the combine and pro day. Only 1 D there for stamina, and then a C for pass block and run block power. Everything else at an A already. So Moreland is going to be a day 1 starter, a future all-pro. And I think if we're able to get he and Whitworth here, 2 top 5 talents in this class, that's a win no matter what else happens along the way. So Delvin Barner we have here as our number 2 player on the board. Even though he did grade out as around 2 to 3 talent, I feel like these tackles tend to be a little bit underappreciated when it comes to grading. So A for awareness, impact, and run block. That pass block, you know, needs a lot of work there. Just a D, but Barner's athletic profile, you know, elite here in terms of offensive tackles. 2nd in the 40-yard dash, 1st for 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. 1st or 2nd there between the combine and pro day for broad jump, and then also 3rd there for vertical jump. Strong enough with 34 reps and 31 reps between his combine and pro day. A for awareness, impact, lead block, run block, and run block finesse. B for pass block finesse, but the pass block power and pass block there at just D. But I think Barner is going to have very high upside. I think maybe someone with potential superstar abilities, but we'll see. I don't have as much of a sample size in these Madden drafts over the past few installments, so it's really just a learning process as we go ahead. But I think Whitworth and Moreland, like I said, are going to be our primary targets. If we do trade up to 6 or 7, as I said, it's going to have to be between Whitworth or Barner, and I think in that spot we have to take Whitworth, and then hopefully Cade Moreland's there at number 11 or 12, depending on what pick we do trade up for. And then hopefully we can get Cade Moreland there with our second first-round pick. And then with that, we'll have a corner and guard, ideally, which would still leave a hole at offensive tackle. And I'm hoping Christine Cameron falls down the board a little bit. Like Barner and Mitch Floyd did come back with around 2 to 3 grade as well, but better traits than Barner with A, awareness, impact, and run block, but a better pass blocker at C. Didn't test nearly as well as Barner, but not bad. Kind of middle of the pack there. D for pass block power, but everything else at C or better with run block power, pass block at C. A couple traits there at B, but mostly A's across the board here for Christine Cameron. So if we can maybe get Whitworth trading up there into the top 10 or so, get Moreland with our second first-round pick there at 11 or 12, and then maybe work a trade into the early to mid-20s if Christine Cameron's still hanging out there, that's ideal. But in a scenario where we end up with Barner instead of Whitworth, that would then be Barner, Moreland, and then maybe we can get Jeff Underwood there at the late first round, or maybe DeAndre Weber, 2 guys who graded out as first-round talents, as we saw there in those private workouts. But Cameron, Floyd, and Barner all around 2 to 3 grades, but the top 3 tackles in this class, I don't think we can really afford to, wait it out. They're going to be off the board fairly quickly, even though they might not be the highest overall to start, but I'm assuming all 3 of these guys have star development, maybe Barner with superstar with such great athletic traits to start off and build off of. So that's our strategy in the first round. Hopefully, we have 7 targets here, 3 corners, 3 tackles, 1 guard. I think when it's all said and done, we're definitely going to end up with Cade Moreland. I'm assuming he'll be there at one of those picks, and then hopefully Whitworth, and then maybe Christine Cameron is how it's going to play out. But we'll see. We have a lot of flexibility. 13 picks here, with 4 in the top 75. And then going down here, we have a couple guys here in the first round. Joey Bush out of Alabama, the top center in this year's class. A couple tight ends here, Ben Murray and Damon Curley, who I think are going to be very good players, but after signing Mark Andrews, not really a need for us. But, if one of them's hanging out there in the second round, I definitely wouldn't be opposed, because as we mentioned with Andrews, already 30 years old, is going to start regressing here shortly. Damian Spencer out of Cal, one of the top pass rushers in the draft. Jerry Gilmore, guys here in this vicinity, just first-round guys that we like, but probably not going to draft just because they're not the most pressing needs. But maybe if they fall down there to the late first round, maybe guys we look to trade up for. Also, Justice Core here out of USC. We saw a draft story on him. A cluster here of corners here in the fringe first-round territory with Donovan Davis out of Oklahoma. Nathan Scruggs out of Ole Miss, who did miss the combine. He got hurt just before, so he couldn't test. And then Jamal Stoutmeyer out of Ohio, 6'3", 200. Good size there on the outside. Scruggs at 6'1", 188. Donovan Davis at 6'1", 199. He also had a very good combine, although the zone archetype, not a scheme fit, but a good corner nonetheless. A couple more guys here at rounds 1 to 2. Projection here, Davis Madden, quarterback out of Nevada, 6'3", 218, is a scrambler with B, deep, and short accuracy, C for medium. Tested pretty well, top 3 in every category, first in the 3-cone and 40-yard shuttle. A for break sack, throwing the run. And I don't know if it was this episode or last episode, but I don't mind drafting a quarterback here in the middle rounds. With so many picks at our disposal, we can afford that because quarterbacks, they have a very good return on investment. Typically, if they do hit and can, prove to be a good quarterback in limited sample size, you can then, flip them maybe for some high draft capital down the road. And it never hurts to have a good backup quarterback. Probably not going to draft Madden, but we do like him, especially if he were to fall maybe into the 3rd round or so, but probably not likely. Jason Pugh, another top 50 player on the board. We have him at 18, a right guard if we miss out on Moreland. Someone we can maybe go for in the 2nd round at 6'3", 338. B for awareness, pass block. C for run block. Impact block at A to C. And for a power interior lineman, tested pretty well with a good 20-yard shuttle, a good 40 time. 38 reps, was 2nd among guards, and good traits. No D's at this point, although that stamina going to be B to D along with the injury, and that pass block finesse C to F. So really the only blemish for Jason Pugh, who looks to be a pretty well-rounded interior lineman prospect, but more than likely going to end up with Cade Moreland there in the 1st round. And then we have Jerry Sexton, who is a projected round 3 to 4 guy, but graded as a round 1 to 2 talent for us. So we are going to probably target him a little higher than he's projected. Maybe late 2nd round, early 3rd round territory. B for block shed, tackle zone. C for pursuit. 6'3", 226 field general out of UW. Tested pretty much in the top 5 in every category with a 4.47 40-yard dash at his pro day. 25, 26 reps between the combine and his pro day. Good vert, good broad jump. Good agility there with the 3-cone, good 20-yard shuttle. Very good traits across the board as well. Nothing at a D so far, although that stamina is going to be a D or F. The injury and impact block at C to D. Power moves, not going to really have it, but finesse moves at A to B. B block shed, B zone. Very well balanced and very high upside here for Jerry Sexton. So I think he's someone, like I said, maybe late second round, early third round we target. So if all goes to plan, maybe we go Whitworth, Moreland. Hopefully Christine Cameron we can maybe trade up for to get that tackle spot, and then maybe we go with Sexton with our next pick. Then we kind of get into round 2 to 3 guys here going towards the end of day 2. Jaden McLeod, a corner who tested extremely well, has A, catching, press, B for zone, D for man. So not a scheme fit, but a 4.37 40 at the combine, 4.31 at his pro day, 20 reps, which was first among all corners at the pro day, first in vertical jump and broad jump. So just a super explosive corner, not the best traits to start, but you like the A press, A catching, A injury with B zone, C tackle. Block shed going to be a B or C. So I really like the upside here for McLeod, even though he's not the most finished product. But there is a good amount of corners on our board. Even if we take one in the first round, which we do plan on, I wouldn't mind going with McLeod maybe in the second or third round, depending on who's available. Aries Burgess, a D end here, power rusher at a Florida State. Already with that A power move, C block shed at 6'4", 265, just 21 years old. Good combine overall with 37 reps. You really like that coming off the edge. A awareness, B play rec, and tackle. And a good baseline to start with that A power move and C block shed. I think power rusher is something we want to address in this year's draft. Even though we did sign Kwity Paye, we have more of a speed rush influx in our pass rush rotation. So I wouldn't mind adding another young power rusher. And Burgess is the best that we have on our draft board. Then we get Donovan Jordan here. Projected round 2 to 3 talent, around 3 to 4 grade though. But we like the traits to start with: A awareness, impact, and pass block, C run block. 6'3", 313, 21 years old out of Louisville. Tested decently, although the strength there, the bench press among the worst of any offensive tackle. But no D's on his skills. Pretty much all A or C with a B lead block. So if we miss out on those top 3 offensive tackles in Barner, Floyd, and Cameron, Jordan might be the guy we try and target in the second to third round range to fill that offensive tackle need, because after that it really gets slim. Then a few more day 2 guys here. Nick Goddard, corner out of Texas. We saw McLeod earlier, who tested very well at corner, and I think Goddard does have the better traits, and he didn't test bad. Tested actually pretty well. Top 10 in most categories with a 4.42 40-yard dash, 4.36 at his pro day. B catching, man zone with C press, B awareness and block shed, B tackle. So very well rounded. Could add some nice depth, maybe even develop into a starting spot down the road at just 21 years old. But we really like McLeod, but we'll see what happens at the corner spots. So pretty much as I've kind of outlined here, I think guard at the top, offensive tackle, and corner, the 3 spots that we're going to address with our first 3 picks. And then we'll see how it goes after that. Definitely want Sexton. Burgess would be nice as well. Really like Jordan if we miss out on those top 3. Goddard, a good corner. Then we get Stan Snowden here, a speed rusher at a Baylor, 22 years old at 6'5", 260. B pursuit, the block shed going to be there. C to an F, which you don't really like, but tested very well at 4'5", 640. A good broad jump, someone we put up at D end, but I don't really know if I like the traits all that much with just D power move. Really depends on that finesse move. I wish we had that unlocked, and the block shed going to be no better than a C, maybe a D or an F. So I don't know if Stan Snowden's someone we're going to prioritize there on day 2, even though he did have a draft story on him earlier in the season. And I really wish every time, you looked at a prospect, it didn't just bump you all the way back to the top of the board. The navigation in these menus, not the most user-friendly. Then we have another quarterback here, Glenn Tyson out of Notre Dame. And I think there's a good chance we pick him if he falls to the 3rd, maybe 4th round. Good accuracy to start with B deep and medium. The short going to be A to C along with throw under pressure. Of course, comes from a storied program there, Notre Dame, and tested extremely well. Top 3 in every category. First there with the 40-yard dash, vertical jump, and broad jump. Second for the 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle as well. Throw power going to be solid. B awareness, throw on the run. A stiff arm, so a very good scrambler here. Someone who would fit the mold behind Lucas McDonald, brings that similar skill set. I really would like to, draft a young quarterback in this year's class with so many picks. I don't see why we can't accomplish that, although it might come with our later targets. Monty Craver, safety here at UCF, has A zone. Chris Mack, not Christy Mack, out of Auburn, power rusher, 6'2", 298, 21 years old, B power move, C finesse move, and block shed. Well balanced skill set. Tested in the top 3 pretty much in every category at the combine, although that bench press at 32 reps was 19th. And we had our focus scouting on him in the regular season, and he came back as around 3 to 4 talent, but I really like everything that he presents. The deep pursuit, really the only blemish skills-wise, and he is a good athlete with A, play rec, balanced with the finesse move, C, block shed, and a B, power move. So he can get off blocks well. He can rush the passer in a variety of ways. So despite, that talent coming in a little bit lower than his projection, I really do like Chris Mack, even though D-tackle not the most pressing need. And Damon Richter here, a tight end I really like. We talked about Murray and Curley there at the top, the 2 projected tight ends in the first round, but Richter here projected in the 3rd or 4th at 6'6", 270, 21 years old out of UCLA, has A, catching traffic, B, catching, B, deep route, and A, run block. What a profile to build off of with that size. Physically tested pretty well. A 4.63 40-yard dash, very good at his size. Top 5 in pretty much every other category, although the bench reps at just 19, a little low. Skills, A for awareness, catching traffic, run block, B for catching, deep route, run block, finesse. Everything else looks pretty promising as well. So I think Richter's someone we're definitely going to prioritize there on day 3 and a day 2 if he lasts that long. A pretty strong tight end class. There are a few guys there on day 3 as well that we have on our board. And then at this point, going into round 3, round 4, going into day 3, kind of a crapshoot here. Just a bunch of guys that we like their baseline skills. We like their athletic testing. Tyler Drew out of Florida, 6'4", 255. Actually, the top middle linebacker on the board. Huge size there in the middle of the defense. Tested pretty well overall. Very good vertical jump. 40-yard dash there at about 4.6 between the combine and pro day. B, tackle, play rec, A, impact block. Last year on day 3, we saw just a huge run on linebackers. And a lot of those guys did come back as hidden development. So even if we get Sexton early on like we want, I wouldn't even mind adding another linebacker here in either Tyler Drew or Trevante Hillhouse here, 6'3", 233 out of Stanford. Block shed at B, only D pursuit, but you like the zone is going to be A to C. Not the best tackler, though, going to be C to F, but he ran the fastest 40-yard dash of any middle linebacker at 4.46. B, man, block shed, power move, C, hit power. So pretty good traits for him, good athletically as well. We have another linebacker here, Kenny Schaefer out of Kansas State, 6'3", 241, B, block shed, B, pursuit with A, tackle. Run stopper, archetype zone going to be B to D, which is pretty good for a run stopper. Decent 40-yard dash, bench press up there. Decent 20-yard shuttle. A, tackle, B, awareness. Pretty solid linebacker here, Kenny Schaefer, which now brings us to Rakeem Bass here, D tackle out of UW, the 34th prospect on our board. And I think we have like 67 draftable players on our watch list here. A lot of guys here on day 3, and we are at 67. We did shed a few there as we adjusted our board, but we'll go back up, kind of move down these day 3 guys a little bit quicker, just highlight some guys that we like maybe a little bit more than others. Rakeem Bass tested very well as a speed rusher. I'll take a look at his card. A, finesse move, just F for power moves. So going to be one-dimensional there, but a lot of upside as a speed rusher. C, block shed with A, tackle, 6'5", 301, 4.77, 40-yard dash, the fastest of any D tackle at the combine. Decent broad jump, 3-cone, B, play rec, awareness. And of course, as you get deeper here on day 3, a lot of these guys we're not going to have as fully scouted, just really throwing darts in that spot in the draft. Paul Wesley here, running back out of Georgetown, receiving back. He was named FCS Player of the Year. We have Joshua Noble here, running back out of Georgia. He had a late draft story on him, said that he tested very well. Artie Bowles, power rusher out of Duke. J.D. Ross, another linebacker. We'll take a look at his card. Pass coverage, so only D, block shed, C, pursuit, tackle. The zone is going to be A to C. Tested decently. Top 3 in the 3-cone. The top 20-yard shuttle. Strong player as well with 24 reps. Good vertical jump. Already A for man, so definitely going to be a coverage specialist. Has C, play rec, C, pursuit, B, hit power. Not going to be much of an impact player nonetheless, elsewhere, but definitely can fit that pass coverage specialist in the linebacking core. I must have skipped Calvin Adams earlier, 35th on our board. Tight end out of USF, but like we saw, we want Damon Richter, I believe it was up here, out of UCLA. 6'3", 6'6", 270. Tested very well. These running backs, Wesley, Noble. Definitely want to draft a day 3 running back. We do have a couple other guys down the board. Dalton Shepard, speed rusher out of Oregon. Solid prospect. And then we have Ronnie Bass here, power back out of Purdue. Not to be confused with Ronnie Bass from, remember, the Titans. But even though we signed Kamara and Zamir White, we still only have 3 running backs on the roster. Want to add a young one here in the draft. A couple tight ends here. Bowden, George Hamlin there out of Auburn. Roy Towns out of Colorado, one of the few wide receiver prospects we have on the board, which now moves us into day 3, starting with the 46th prospect on our board, Sean James out of Hawaii. And even though he didn't test the best, we still kind of like him just as a day 3 dart. He had a draft story on him earlier in the year, so hoping that maybe he has hidden development at 5'8", 197. Devon Williams, another off-ball linebacker that we really like here on day 3 with A, block shed, A, pursuit. The tackle going to be at A or C with B to D zone coverage, which I'll take every time for a run-stopping linebacker. 6 foot 247 out of Oregon State. The top 40-yard dash of any outside linebacker with good 3-cone, good 20-yard shuttle. Already see man coverage, so going to be a good coverage linebacker with that run-stopping archetype. So maybe my favorite linebacker there between rounds 3 and 4, day 3 guys. A lot of linebackers on our board this year. And of course, we have to move all the way down again. Dom Gilmore, someone they had us projected drafting in the first round in a mock draft 3, I believe it was. Despite his day 3 grade here, B for block shed pursuit, 6'2", 260, 22 years old out of UTEP. Didn't really test the best, actually probably tested towards the bottom of all outside linebackers, but someone who would be a D end in our scheme. B awareness, block shed pursuit, C hit power, and that power move is not unlocked. Going to be B or D, and you really hope it's better than a D for a power rusher archetype, but he had a draft story on him. He's kind of being linked to us a little bit as well, so if we don't get a power rusher earlier, who do we say that we liked earlier in the draft here? I think it was Burgess up here. If we don't get Aries Burgess here, which I don't know if it's going to turn out that way just because we have other guys we like here in the round 2 to 3 range. I think we might opt for Dom Gilmore here on day 3 instead. And then we have another power rusher here, Justin Barton out of Tennessee. So probably going to be one of these guys on day 3 between Gilmore and Barton to add some power rusher depth at our left end spot. Then we have a couple more quarterbacks here. And I think we are going to end up with one of these guys. Will Mincy, 6 foot 214 out of Arkansas. He's a scrambler. Does not have good deep accuracy, but not his game at all. Has B, medium, B to D for short, B under pressure. 6 foot 214, 22 years old. Tested pretty well compared to most other quarterbacks. And with that elite throw power, you really like that for a scrambling quarterback. B spin move, B under pressure, B medium, C play action. So a pretty solid quarterback here on day 3 that I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on, especially, to be a backup for Lucas McDonald. And as I mentioned, the return on investment with quarterbacks can sometimes be very, very high if it works out. We also have Chris Woodard, 6'5", 234 out of Florida State. Different mold. He brings that strong arm archetype. A couple speed rushers here. We have Josh Stocker out of Tennessee, a D end, and then Mike Mays out of San Diego State, which former teammate of Caleb Patton, who we drafted last year in the 4th round, 100th overall. He turned in a 7-sack rookie season, so maybe reuniting him with his college teammate and Mike Mays would make sense. 6'1", 302, A finesse move tackle, C for block shed, D power move, and tested in the top 3 in the 40-yard dash, the broad jump, and the vertical jump. So another athletic speed rusher there out of San Diego State. Very close there to Salt Lake City, so kind of developing a pipeline there maybe if we draft him and reunite him with Caleb Patton. And we have a couple centers here, Calvin Dunn from Pitt, Jared Hoffman from Ohio State. I'd really like to add a young center later on in the draft, get some more depth behind Cade Mays. Center probably a spot we'll look to upgrade next year. Kyler Baker out of Yale, another running back here. Desmond Wilson, 6'2", 347, so a true, 0 tech, 1 tech type guy to clog running lanes there on the defense. And then kind of just a crapshoot as you go along here. Andrew Byron out of Southern Illinois, David Ellerby linebacker from West Georgia, Perry Harris out of Auburn, a more of a kick return specialist. A few more tight ends here, Eric Leatherwood, Henry Reddick, Alex Hardison, D-end out of Missouri. A few corners here, Jaleel Wise from Pitt, Chad Armstrong from North Carolina, and then a D-end here, Gerald Cumberland from UW, and Brandon Wilkinson out of Washington State, the last draftable player on our board at 67. Then we have a few undrafted free agents that we kind of liked, that we've monitored throughout the season. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but we will look at a couple of them. Chauncey Washington, tight end from Georgia, 6'7", 236, vertical threat. Going to have A to C deep route already. F for run block, the catch and traffic catching going to be C to F, but we added him because of his profile. Look at that, 40-yard dash at 4.51, which is second. And then he was first in the vertical jump, the 3-cone, and a 20-yard shuttle at the combine. Third in the broad jump. Not the strongest player, but that athletic profile absolutely off the charts. Going to have C awareness, C break tackle. Really nothing else uncovered, or if it is, it's D or F, but Washington may be a nice long-term project. Throw a dart on him in the 7th round just based on that athletic testing that he turned in at the combine. We really liked Cole Samuels and KJ Lewis, 2 left tackles here who tested very well. Going to try and look at one of these fullbacks in Terry Gallery of Rutgers or Jim Edwards of South Carolina. 6 foot 259 utility fullback. We liked Archer Isaac here out of North Dakota State, a left guard. Chris Harold, center out of Ohio State. Keenan Denard out of Boise State, someone we liked as well on defense. Brandon Rogers was a fringe draftable guy, D-tackle from Colorado State. And then also Travis Hayes, a fringe draftable guy, free safety out of Vanderbilt. So that's our look at our draft board. We'll resort go all positions as Byron Snow projected number 1 overall to Seattle. Aaron McClure projected number 2 to Jacksonville, I believe. And then David Witt projected number 3 to Tennessee, as that would certainly be to our benefit, especially if someone like Dimitri Dupree goes in the top 5 as well. That would really help us out in our pursuit of trading up to maybe pick 6 or 7, as hopefully our plan of going up for Whitworth and then drafting Cade Moreland pans out, and then trading back up again, hopefully getting Christine Cameron, although I don't know if it's going to work out that way. But it's going to be absolutely interesting to see what happens. And with that, I think we're all but ready to enter this year's 2026 NFL Draft. And the Seattle Seahawks are now officially on the clock with the first pick in this 2026 NFL Draft. It's been projected they go Byron Snow, quarterback out of LSU. Supposed to be one of the highest rated quarterbacks coming out maybe since Trevor Lawrence, close to a decade ago at this point. But it would be an absolute stunner if the Seahawks did not go Byron Snow, as we're set to have 2 of the top young quarterbacks in our division, with our Lucas McDonald coming off a Rookie of the Year there in the NFC. And now the Seahawks projected to go with Byron Snow. The top 3 quarterbacks are selected to go here in succession, as we'll see if the Snowhawks do indeed go with Byron Snow. Like I said, it would be an absolute stunner if not. And it looks like that is going to be the selection, as he is already rocking the Seahawks cap there, has the hat on. And Byron Snow, new hope now for the Seahawks. They had Russell Wilson, of course, for a long while before transitioning to the Geno Smith era, which was short-lived. I don't think anyone really expected that one to, go on too long. So fresh life now for that Seattle Seahawks franchise, 1 year removed from an NFC championship. Of course, they made the Super Bowl back in year 1 of this franchise, but now collapse all the way to the bottom. They pull a complete 180, and now the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock here at 2nd overall. They're projected to go Aaron McClure, quarterback out of Michigan State, which would, probably put an end to the Trevor Lawrence era there in Jacksonville. Just did not quite work out as many had hoped for Trevor Lawrence, as that is David McClure, quarterback out of Michigan State. Aaron McClure, as he battled with David Witt here as far as the second quarterback. It was always Byron Snow, number 1, but McClure and David Witt had a nice battle there for the second quarterback in this year's class. But it looks like David Witt will now go to Tennessee as the Titans move on from Kyler Murray. A short-lived era there for Kyler Murray after they selected him in the dispersal draft, going back to episode 1 of this franchise. As if this draft board does line up going 3 quarterbacks in a row, which it does say there, David Witt now 3rd to the Titans, as I'm not sure the last time this happened, maybe 99 or 98. Was that the Achilles Smith, Donovan McNabb? I forget who the top quarterback in that class was. I don't think it was Ryan Leaf, but I could be wrong. As now David Witt, a new quarterback there for Tennessee. So the Titans and the Jaguars, both with new franchise quarterbacks. We'll see what happens with Kyler Murray from the Titans and Trevor Lawrence from the Jags. I would assume both of those guys maybe get traded, because Lawrence was signed to a new 5-6 year extension. So I'm not sure how they're going to be able to unload him. Definitely going to demand a couple first-round picks, at least you would think, for the former number 1 overall pick. But this is really where the draft actually starts, with those 3 quarterbacks going off the board as projected. We'll see what the Patriots do here. They were heavily linked to Dimitri Dupree, the top running back in this year's class, but I want to say that's Pat Lewis, wide receiver from Ohio State, as they were linked to either running back or wide receiver here early on in the draft. And that is going to be Pat Lewis, wide receiver out of Ohio State, the top wide receiver off the board this year, as Drake May gets a nice new weapon there in Foxborough. And now Las Vegas on the clock here at number 5. Still, all offensive players, 3 quarterbacks, a wide receiver. We'll take a look at the draft board here, and maybe we should start working a trade up to number 6 or number 7 and try and get Chris Whitworth here, still on the board with that top 5 grade. Delvin Barner, I'm expecting to go off the board here, number 5 to Las Vegas, but we'll see what they end up doing. And I'm not sure who that is. I don't know if it's an offensive tackle or not. It might be Spencer, a pass rusher. I think it might be Damian Spencer, and it is. So kind of a surprise pick there at number 5. The Raiders go with Damian Spencer, pass rusher, I believe out of Cal maybe. And we are going to pause this pick now, and let's go over to the trade menu. We'll see what it will cost to move up 6 picks here from 12 to 6 with the Chicago Bears. Their top player on the team is Jalen Johnson at corner. And they also have Kyler Gordon, star dev, Tyreek Stevenson, star dev, both 26 years old. So they don't really need a corner. I don't think they're really a threat here to go Whitworth, but we don't really want to risk it. So we'll put number 6 there. We'll put number 12. So what is it going to cost to move up 6 spots? I think we'll just start with the third round pick 75 as a baseline. And that puts us at about 75% or so. What if we add in 133? We'll add in a 7 here at 203, a 135, and 7 for number 6. And that didn't really move up much. What if we throw in another 5? We already have 133 in there. Let's throw in 140 and see if that's enough. We did get moved up a little bit more now, green. So a 1, a 3, 2 5s. What if we throw in a 6, I guess? 2 5s, a 6, a 3, and a 1. I think that's a pretty fair offer just to move up 6 spots, but they're still not biting. What if we throw in a 7? Will that do it for you? We'll throw in 204, 2 5s, a 6, a 7, a 3, and a 1. And that is still not going to do it. Wow, I'm really surprised. So 2 5s, a 6, a 3, and a 1. I think we might have to throw in a 4 maybe. That might be a little too much for my taste at this point. Chicago on their team needs there. No need for a corner, so I really don't think they're going to take Whitworth. What if we go over to Cleveland? And they actually don't have any need for a corner either. They have Ward, Newsome, Martin Emerson Jr. So really have to just worry about these teams going best player available. We tried, a little bit there with Chicago. I think we'll let it run down at least one more pick and see who the selection is. Really hoping it's not Chris Whitworth. Maybe Delvin Barner there, a tackle to solidify that offensive line in front of Caleb Williams. So we have Cleveland on deck, New York in the hole. Maybe the Giants, the team we're going to have to leapfrog if we want to bring home Chris Whitworth. As now Roger Goodell on to announce the Cleveland Browns pick, 6th overall. I'm sorry, the Chicago Bears pick, 6th overall here in the 2026 NFL Draft. And they are going to go with Chris Whitworth as they stab us in the heart. We tried trading up. Maybe we should have used pick 11 instead of 12, although I don't think it would have made that big of a difference. But now Cleveland is on the clock, so our focus now shifts to Delvin Barner instead. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. With a round 2 to 3 talent grade after scouting, we know he's going to be a pretty good player, but he's not going to come in as the highest overall, but the highest 3-cone, the highest 20-yard shuttle, a very good broad jump, vertical jump, both there in the top 3. Second fastest 40 time and requisite strength as well. That pass block, just, a very big blemish at this point. Pass block power, run block power, both at D as well, but I really like the upside here for Delvin Barner, and I think the Browns probably a threat to pick him, so let's see if we can work a trade up here for Barner at this point. Try and trade up 5 spots from 12 to 7. I'm not sure how much that's going to cost. I would think hopefully a little bit less than trying to trade up to 6 where we missed out on Chris Whitworth, but I'm not too upset about it. We have some other good corner options down the board that we can maybe try and trade up for in the end of the first round, but we'll go 7 there. We'll add pick 12, trying to trade up 5 now. What if you throw in a 4? Just 107. We'll see how that goes. And that didn't really do it for us. What about pick 75 instead? And that does get us up there a little bit. Might have to throw in a 5 here. We'll throw in 139. I know that's not going to get it done, but we'll see how much that raises it. Not really too much. So we'll try 133, and then we'll throw in 203, add a 5 and a 7. And still not really that close. So I don't know if a trade up really is in the cards for us. It's really just kind of costing a lot more than I expected just to move up a few spots. So with this one, a 3, a 5, or a 3 and 2 5s. What if we add a high 7th rounder? Will that work it up? It does not. What about a 6? I think a 6 now is the highest I'm willing to go. A 1, a 3, 2 5s, and a 6. And I guess we'll just try and add in a 7 as well. If not, then we'll just cut our losses, as that is still short as well. So we'll let it run down one more pick. Hopefully Delvin Barner is not the selection here for Cleveland. And what a bummer there. Chris Whitworth going off the board, number 6 to Chicago. So, that was the guy we were trying to trade up for, and I think they were cognizant of that, which is why they really weren't willing to make a move. You can only try so hard, but you really can't force the team to move down if they're already kind of set on one of their guys. And I think Cleveland here is going to go with Delvin Barner, number 7 overall. So it does not really go to plan here. We miss out on our top 2 choices. But now with the way it's developed, I think we're kind of set now to trade down from maybe 11 or 12, pick up a extra day 2 pick, maybe even, equip ourselves with an extra first round going into next year like we did acquiring Tampa Bay's first round selection this season. So now New York on the clock at number 8, and they did sign Derrick Henry, a big impact in free agency. Also brought in DeMarcus Lawrence, as they were linked to Dimitri Dupree, even though they did sign Derrick Henry. So we'll see what the Giants decide to do here. And it looks like they did select Dimitri Dupree, just looking there on the board. And they are going to go with the running back out of Baylor. 5'10", I think, 235 pounds, ran a 4.5 40. It looks to be a very dynamic running back. maybe not the biggest need. Last time they did draft a quarterback in the top 10, it did hit there in the form of Saquon Barkley. So at this point, our top target is Cade Moreland, who are more than willing to select at number 11 overall. We still have to get through Washington here. And then before us at number 10 is going to be Miami. So we'll see who the Commanders go with. They were projected Mitch Floyd in that last mock draft. I believe that's who they are selecting here, tackle out of Michigan, as that is going to be the pick. Floyd and Barner were very tightly contested as a top offensive tackle in this year's class, but Barner just, athletic edge over Floyd. But Floyd's still a very good tackle in his own right. Not the best pro day. Disappointing a little bit there, but now Miami on the clock at number 10. And I'm not really sure who they're going to go with. Maybe a receiver. Maybe they go Skylar Goddard here out of Virginia Tech, or Jared Gilmore out of Oklahoma. But let's go over to favorites now. Cade Moreland, our top guy. We still have Christine Cameron and Jeff Underwood on the board as well, along with DeAndre Weber. Two corners here that had first-round grades, which is why I wasn't too upset that we missed out on Chris Whitworth, although Whitworth, kind of in a league of his own, but you can't draft all the top players, as I believe that is Gilmore, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, going to Miami, as they add even more speed. Tyreek Hill, very disgruntled there with the Dolphins, so he is kind of on the trade market. I was thinking about that, but I'm not sure if we have the means to acquire him, although maybe one of these first-round picks would be enough to get it done. I mean, I guess we might as well just take a look at that, because as I mentioned earlier, we do want to make a trade for a receiver, if not maybe here in the draft, but after the draft to acquire a stronger wide receiver to go along with Marvin Harrison Jr. So Tyreek Hill, a $55 million cap hit, and as fun as it sounds, as fun as it is in theory, he even has a trade target for veterans. So the Dolphins are looking to unload Tyreek Hill, especially after drafting a wide receiver here in the top 10, but I don't know if we really are the team, that should be making a move for him. So we'll just stay in pat here. I think we will just go on and select Cade Moreland here at 11 overall. Not the most sexy pick going offensive line, especially interior offensive line at this stage in the draft, but usually necessary, especially, trying to build up this offensive line. So Cade Moreland, top 5 graded with A, awareness, impact block, pass block, and run block. Has a motor that runs through the whistle, shows good discipline, and won't get flagged much. 6'2", 327, 21 years old out of LSU. Number 1 in every category for guards in this year's draft. So Cade Moreland is going to be the pick here out of LSU, and I'm very happy about this. We solidify another spot on our offensive line, as we already have Randy Samuels, a third-round pick from last year. First-year player, had a very good year in his first year as a starter. Now he is going to be joined by Cade Moreland, a top 5 graded player in this draft. I'm going to assume he has superstar abilities. That might be a little presumptuous, but I think at his value, that is going to be effective. And he is number 1 in true value in this year's draft. So last year we had Lucas McDonald, who was number 2. And now this year we got Cade Moreland, who is number 1 in true value, scouting report, NFL ready, processes blitz quickly and effectively, uses strength to create firm base, 97 strength, 70 speed, 78 agility, 84 acceleration with hidden development, as you would expect. An A in pretty much every category besides pass block and run block power, which are C, and then stamina there at D. So we fill a big hole there on the offensive line. And now at pick 12 here, we have a decision to make. We'll take a look at some packages that were being offered here for pick 12. Chicago offering us their first and second for next year with a 4. Houston offering us pick 22 to trade down 10 spots. And we'll pick up a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 7 for next year. I really like that package. Minnesota will give us a 3 and a 7 to trade down 8 spots. Baltimore will give us a 2 and a 6 to trade down 11 spots. Vegas will give us a first in 2028 and 3 more future picks. Green Bay will give us a first and a second next year. Atlanta a first next year with a 5 this season. Philly will give us pick 28 and a first next year. So that's going to be 28 and probably another first round pick there in the mid to high 20s. Miami offering pick 42 along with a first next year, which I'm very tempted by. I don't think they're going to be the best team next year, so that first round pick can end up being a very high one. And then look at Indy. They're offering us a first rounder in 2027, 2028, a 3, and then 2 7s as well. So I think we will look to trade down at this spot. We get Cade Moreland, who, as we saw, the top player in this year's class based on true talent. And now if we are going to stand pat at this pick, it would probably be Christine Cameron at offensive tackle, 12th on the overall board. But we did have another tackle a little bit later on in Donovan Jordan, who's pretty similar to Cameron, although he did not test quite as well. But even if we trade down maybe 10 spots or so, there is a possibility we can still get Cameron. But if not, I think that then puts us in a situation where we select Jeff Underwood, who we really like, as a consolation there to Chris Whitworth, who we missed out on. So I think we will look for one of those packages that had us trading down about 10 spots or so to pick 20, 22. I think it was like Houston had one. So to trade down 10 spots, Houston will give us a 2, a 3, 4, and a 7 next year. I think we might take that package. We wouldn't get any additional picks for this year, but we already have so many that I think we can work up some trade ups by packaging some of our day 3 picks, maybe trade back up into day 2 or so into the 4th round. So I really like this package from Houston. Would give us 4 more picks for next year, 2 of those on day 2. Definitely like that a little bit better than Minnesota's, where we would trade down 8 but only get a 3rd and a 7. Baltimore would give us 23, 55, and 175 to trade down 11. But still, I think I value Houston's package more. Vegas would just give us all future picks. Not really want to work with that. Green Bay would give us 57 and trade down 13. But again, I think I still like Houston's package the best. Although Philly's is very convincing as well. We would trade down 16, but we would still pick up a 1st rounder for next year, which probably would be a late pick. But I would love the idea of having an extra 1st round pick in 2 straight drafts. Miami, a pretty good offer as well. So it really comes down to Philly or Houston. I think the really, the big dilemma is trading all the way down to 28 is quite a drop, but with all the extra capital we have on day 3, I think we'll then be in a position to trade up maybe from like 28 to pick 20 or so and secure Jeff Underwood, and then maybe hold off on offensive tackle for later. We'd also get a 4 for next year, another 7 this year. Houston will give us like half their draft for next year, but between, getting a 1st round pick by just dropping an extra 6 spots, I think we do have to take Philly up on this offer, as the Eagles, the top seed in the NFC, playing it aggressive here. They are going to trade up, and we'll see who they go with. So now next season, we are going to be rooting against the Eagles every week, which is against the norm for me, being an Eagles fan. And the day of recording this episode is actually Super Bowl Sunday, so go Birds. Hopefully when you're listening to this, they have secured Super Bowl 59. If not, I'm probably somewhere crying, as now Steve Fisher is the pass rusher there off the board out of Stanford. As he goes to the Eagles now, we'll kind of go a little bit quicker here. We'll advance to next pick, as the Colts go with B.J. Roan, pass rusher out of Tennessee, I believe. And now the Rams on the clock at pick 14. And they go with tight end Ben Murray, who before signing Mark Andrews, I was very high on. Had we not brought in Mark Andrews, we probably would have selected Murray there at number 12 rather than trading down to the Carolina Panthers on the clock. And they go with D-tackle Jabari Simmons, and he was projected them pretty much the whole way in every mock draft. Now at pick 16, the Falcons follow suit, go with a D-tackle of their own there in C.J. Daniels out of UCLA. Now Denver on the clock. I think we'll sim ahead just a few more picks. Christine Cameron and Jeff Underwood are both still available, but I think trading up from 28 to 17 might be a little too steep for us at this point. We'll sim ahead like 3 more to Minnesota, as Denver does go Jeff Underwood there, so they snipe us. Again, we tried being aggressive early on there for Chris Whitworth, but it just did not turn out well for us, nor did it for number 7 there for Delvin Barner with the Browns. So as I said earlier, we wanted to be a little more aggressive in this year's draft, but these teams just kind of set in their ways. I know the Broncos take our top target. Cincinnati goes with J.R. Decker. And now the Saints on the clock here at number 19 as they go D-tackle Tanner Ellsworth. So we now have Christine Cameron still available here at pick 20. And he's actually the top player on the overall board. But we have DeAndre Weber down here as well, who we had as a 1st round grade. Here's our backup plan to our backup plan. We had Whitworth and then Underwood. And now Weber, our 3rd option at corner. We love the 1st round grade. Tested very well in pretty much every category. Top 2 there for 40-yard dash, 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Everything at a B or a C besides stamina there at a D. So it looks like Weber does have the makings of a day 1 starter at corner. Bring him in with Kendall Fuller and Max Melton. But tackle is a little more scarce. We'll go to our favorites now. And Cameron is our last tackle on our watch list all the way down until Donovan Jordan here in the round 2 to 3 range. Although his talent did fall to round 3 to 4. So I think actually Christine Cameron, the guy we're going to have to maybe try and prioritize now, as we'll look into a trade here with the Minnesota Vikings. Try and double up on offensive line here in the 1st round, going guard at number 11. And now trying to trade up here to number 20 to select Christine Cameron. And as I mentioned, with that round 2 to 3 grade, I know the overall probably won't be the highest. But being such a premium position, we kind of have to reach for our guy if we have to. So we'll throw number 20 here for Minnesota. I don't know if there's a way we can trade up and still keep 28 and maybe select DeAndre Weber in that spot. I highly doubt it, but let's try going with 43 and 107 for 20, see where that puts us, and not even close. So we probably are going to have to go with pick 28 here. Then what's it going to cost to move up 8 spots? We'll go with pick 139, see where that puts us. Not really that close, so I don't know if it's going to be as easy as I expected to move up in these spots. What if we package 107 and 140 to move up 8 spots here? Still not really getting much there on the interest bar. We'll throw in another 5, 2 5s of 4 to move up 8, and still not biting on it. So again, these teams, demanding a lot to trade up. Or maybe we're just lowballing them. Not really sure. What if we do 3 5s here to move up 8 spots? Still not enough. So we're going to have to throw in 107, 133. And what about a 6 here? 1456 to move up 8. Not even close. And I don't really want to throw in a third rounder here. Pick 75 to move up 8. What if we can get a 4 back? How would that tip the scales at this point? What if we still got that 4, made it a 7, a 1, a 3, and for a 1 and a 7? And that's still not enough, so I don't know if a trade up here is the most realistic. I think we'll sim ahead 2 more spots, maybe to Houston, as they were interested in trading up before, but now maybe missing out on their guy. They're willing to trade down a few spots, as Minnesota does select a wide receiver there, Skylar Goddard out of Virginia Tech, not someone we were targeting. Now San Francisco on, the defending NFC West champions, as they do go with Christine Cameron. So we missed out on Cameron, and at this point our draft board has really dwindled down. DeAndre Weber probably our top option now at this point, as we missed out on all those tackle prospects. We missed out on our top 2 corner prospects, but we did add a first rounder for next year. But if not Weber in this spot, we might just sit pat here at 28 and see what falls into our laps. I would like Weber to be the pick, but maybe we go with Joey Bush here, the top center, and just double up on an interior lineman. Damon Curley here, a very good tight end, but not really a need for us anymore after signing Mark Andrews. Justice Core, another good center, and a cluster of corners here. As this draft did not really play out the way I had hoped. I was trying to be aggressive trading up, but just like I said, did not really work out the way we wanted. And I think we'll try and work up from 28 to 22, play into it one more time, see if we can make something happen. At this point, we really don't want to miss out on DeAndre Weber with that first round grade, so we'll go with 28. We'll start with pick 107. Will that be enough to move up 6 spots? As it is not. We'll throw in a 5 here, 139, a 6, a 1456 to move up 6 spots. And still not going to do it. What if we throw in another 5, 133, a 7, 14557, and still not enough. So we are really being squeezed here when trying to trade up. I think we have to fix that with our coaching skill tree. We don't have the trade discounts on, and that's really starting to show this season. We'll simulate here Houston as they select Roy Matthews, a D tackle. And now Baltimore at 23. They go James Hobbs, wide receiver. He comes out of LSU, joining Byron Snow, Cade Moreland, as 2 other LSU Tigers from that offense to go in the first round. Now the LA Chargers, the 2nd seed, the AFC West champions. And they select Joey Bush. The top center goes off the board now here at 25, Green Bay. So 3 more until our pick. And DeAndre Weber is still on the board, but I don't know if he's going to make it past Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, I think it was. So this pick really comes down to Donovan Davis, DeAndre Weber, who we do like more at corner. Also Justice Core here is center. He had a nice draft story on him. Then we'll move into the fringe round 1 guys. And I'm really not sure what our plan of attack in round 2 is going to be. I think we are going to have to try and get Donovan Jordan at any cost here. Very good traits to start with: A, awareness, impact, pass block, C, run block. 6'5", 313 out of Louisville. Didn't test the best, but had the top 20-yard shuttle at the combine. Top 10 in broad jump, decent 40-yard dash, but the skills, you really like that. No clear weaknesses, everything at least C. So I do like Donovan Jordan, even though he does have a round 3 to 4 talent. We might have to select him with our 2nd round pick. But at this spot, we might try and trade up again. I would really just like to secure DeAndre Weber here. I'm not trying to get sniped 3 spots from our pick. So at this spot, I really don't think it would. I keep hitting the wrong menu here. At this spot, I don't think it would cost that much. I know we tried at 22, but now at pick 25, just trading up 3 spots. I would think a 4, a 5 would be enough to get it done with Green Bay, but we've seen these teams practice a little stinginess here today, but maybe Green Bay is a little bit more kind to us. So 28, we'll just throw in 133 to start, and that's not going to do it. We'll try 107, throw in a 4 here to move up 3 spots. That is not going to do it as well. What if we throw in a 5 and a 7? And I'm not really going to throw in more than that. And that didn't get it done either. So whatever, we'll just live with it. We'll roll the dice again here, as I am fully prepared to miss out on our option, but we'll see how it goes. Green Bay goes Ladarius Shields there, wide receiver. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. As I said earlier, they are hosting the draft festivities this year in Steel City in the 2026 NFL Draft, as the Steelers do select DeAndre Weber. They go with our guy here, and you wouldn't expect anything different. And now the Buffalo Bills on the clock at 27. They go Jamal Stoutmeyer out of Ohio as back-to-back corners off the board. And now our Snowhawks back on the clock here at 28 in the first round. We already selected Cade Moreland. The top two guys here, Britton Schwartz of UW, Cole Langford, running back from Connecticut, not on our draft board, which brings us now to Donovan Davis, Justice Core, Damon Curley. But I'm not going to go tight end this early. And then going down the board a little bit, we have Nathan Scruggs, and we also have Jamie McLean here, a left tackle. Did come back as around 1 to 2 talent, but I just didn't really like how he tested pretty much every single category in the bottom half, towards the bottom of all tackles that tested, although the 20-yard shuttle, very good there in the top 3. Skill-wise, pretty good across the board. A lot of A's, only 1 D there at run block finesse. But the more I look at him, the more I kind of like him. 6'5", 314. If he doesn't pan out at tackle, we always could try his luck inside and kick him there. Just, based on that round 1 to 2 talent, I think he will come back as a decent overall, because he did grade out better than, guys like Delvin Barner, Mitch Floyd, who both went in the top 10. And then maybe at the turn in the second round, we'll have pick 43. We can take Davis or one of these other corners down here, Nathan Scruggs, who I think is pretty solid. He just didn't test at the combine, but he does have good skills. Beat catching, man, press, zone. Very well rounded. And you see physicals there. Great for acceleration, agility, jumping. Good for speed and strength with elite change of direction. So even though he didn't test, I think he will come back as a pretty good athlete. And he has very good traits to build off of as well. So we have a couple guys here at corner between Davis and Nathan Scruggs who we can kind of monitor. And then maybe Jamie McLean here, left tackle from Boston College, is the pick, even though we really didn't even have him on our watch list. But as I said, that's only because he tested so bad. But the traits are good. And as I said, I think we could always just throw him on the inside if he doesn't work out at tackle. I think he is a little bit better than Donovan Jordan here, who we said we might have to settle for, but McLean is better than Jordan. So I think we are going to pull a surprise here and go with Jamie McLean here at 28th overall, as we go guard at number 11, and now offensive tackle here at pick 28. Not the sexiest draft here, but of course it is necessary. We added Ikem Ekonwu in free agency at left tackle. We're going to throw Jamie McLean here at right tackle. We'll have Randy Samuels at right guard, Cade Mays at center, and the newly drafted Cade Moreland at left guard. So our offensive line really coming together. We could definitely stand to upgrade a couple more of those spots going into next offseason, into next year's draft, as Jamie McLean ranked 43 in true value. And I thought he was going to be a little bit higher just based on that round 1 to 2 grade, but great pass blocker, solid base, good bend, which helped combat power rushes, fast and agile enough to handle speed rushers. And he, too, does have hidden development, so both linemen we select here with hidden development. Only 79 strength, though, a big weakness, but is going to make up for it across the board with very good traits. So McLean, not the most overpowering tackle, but he does come back with a pretty good skill set. As now the Detroit Lions on the clock here, 29th overall, as they go Terrence Webster, wide receiver. Now the New York Jets, the number 1 seed from the AFC this past year, as they go Donovan Davis. So we have one more corner that we're kind of monitoring here. I think we have to trade up in the top of the second round if we want to secure even Justice Core. Imagine going 3 linemen to start this year's class. I would not mind if Core is there, but I think Scruggs at this point is our top option. We kind of looked at him a little bit just moments ago. Did not test at the combine, but who else do we have here at corner? We also have Jaden McLeod, who we talked about, tested extremely well. We like him a lot, but Nathan Scruggs, the last guy standing here that we have watch listed in terms of round 1 to 2 corners. And at the NFC Championship, Dallas Cowboys on the clock as they select Marcus Dawson, safety from Ohio State, was the College All-Star Game MVP. And the Cowboys get a good one there now. The Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs on the clock here at 32. Let's see who they select as they establish their dynasty. And we do have to wait for it to pop up here. So now into the second round, they go Wyatt Preston, offensive tackle out of Florida, as now the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. I think we'll let it sim a few picks here before trying to trade up at this point. Justice Core, Nathan Scruggs, our top priorities, but Damon Curley, a very good tight end. I'd be so tempted to select him if he's still available, even though it's not the biggest need. So Seattle will simulate this one. They go Damon Finch, strong safety out of Clemson. Another very good safety there. Now at 34, the Jaguars select Justice Core, center out of USC, as they bolster that offensive line. So now we're going to try and trade up from 43 to 35 here with Tennessee in hopes of drafting Nathan Scruggs at corner after we missed out on pretty much all our other options at the position. So let's see what this is going to take. Pick 35. We'll throw in pick 43. So to trade up 8 spots here in the early second round, I wouldn't think it takes too much. We'll try a 5 and a 6, package that. I say that, but we have not been treated pleasantly here in trade negotiations, as that does not work out. So we'll try to throw in another 5, a 7 as well. 2 5s, a 7, which is getting us pretty close. Let's try and make it a 6 instead, as it is close as well. Maybe a 7 in there. 2 5s, a 6, and a 7 to trade up 8 spots here in the second round. Still not getting it done. What if we add in one more 7th rounder? Will that put us in favor, as it does not? Very, very close. So we have pick 133. We'll do pick 139 there for the 2 5th rounders. And we have 197 and 204. So is that going to do it for us? As it does not. Still just a sliver there from being accepted. And we might just have to go with a 4th round pick instead. Add in 107 to trade up 8 spots. Declined. Let's try adding in 140, a 204, and a 5. As that's still not enough. Add in another 5th rounder, as that does not get it done. But I think adding now a 7 in ought to do it. We'll go with 220, a 204, 2 5s, and a 7. As we have finally completed a trade here. We trade up 8 spots, gave up a 4, 2 5s, and a 7. And now we can go ahead and select Nathan Scruggs here, corner. And we did get guard, offensive tackle, and now corner, but not the players we expected or hoped for. But you got to remember, we did pick up an extra 1st round pick for next year. So Nathan Scruggs out of Ole Miss going to be the selection here at pick 35, as we hope he can form a nice tandem there with Kendall Fuller for the season. You know, get some chemistry going with Max Melton, our 3rd-year corner, who's had a very good start to his career, a holdover from that initial draft class that we got. And we see there Nathan Scruggs at home with the family, celebrating as welcome to the NFL. We drafted him at 35. He comes in at 34 in true value, so pretty much right on the nose. Sticky in man coverage, most effective, though, in zone. And it does say he is fast enough. Also another hidden development player, as we're now 3 for 3 there. And we saw no athletic testing, but he comes back with 91 speed, 92 acceleration, 90 agility with 95 change of direction, 90 jumping. So a very good athlete with good traits across the board as well. So I really like how our first 3 picks have turned out, even though they're not necessarily the players we were hoping for. And I will pick up the pace a little bit as we go on. The Patriots go with Britton Shorts. He was the top player available. Titus Springs goes to the Raiders, a good defensive lineman. Morgan Lippett to the Bears. They go with a tackle. Patrick Darby, corner, to the Browns. Now pick 40, the Giants go with Glenn Tyson, that quarterback out of Notre Dame, I believe. He's going to battle for the starting spot. They move on from Derek Carr, who was the starter last year, but a big crapshoot at the quarterback spot there for the Giants. Jason Pugh, a good offensive lineman, goes there to Washington at 41. And Damon Curley there, tight end out of Arizona State, 42nd overall to Miami. Very good value there for the Dolphins. Now 43, our original pick. The Titans select Monty Craver, a safety we did have on our board. They're out of UCF. So now here at pick 44, the Buccaneers, their first selection, as we did have their 1st round pick. Now we'll look at our favorites. So David Madden, our top available player, but I think Jerry Sexton, the focus right now. Our next pick is at 75, so we're going to try and get Sexton or maybe even Jaden McLeod with that, but already going corner. I think Sexton is the guy we're going to want. Maybe trade up earlier in the 3rd round for him, but we really like how he graded out as a round 1 to 2 talent, so we're going to prioritize him going down the board. We're going to just quickly go now here through the 2nd round. Joseph Chaney there, DN out of Michigan, to the Buccaneers. Nick Goddard, a corner we had on our board, goes to the Colts. Now the Rams go Cole Langford, the top available player. Power back there out of Connecticut. Panthers go D end after going D tackle in the 1st round. Falcons go Donovan Jordan, that right tackle out of Louisville, who we're thinking about until we went with McLean there in the 1st. Broncos go with a running back now. Pick 50, the Bengals go Dontrell Dixon. 2 running backs off the board in a row. Now the Saints, they go with Aries Burgess, a D end we were thinking about out of Florida State. A little bit earlier than we would have liked for him, but Vikings now at pick 52 go with Cole Albertson, left tackle. 49ers go with Connor Groves, one of the top interior linemen in this year's class. Pretty good value for them at pick 53. Now the Texans go with Travis Gordon, running back there at 54, as they lose Dameon Pierce this past free agency period. And Chris Mack there to the Baltimore Ravens. Really liked him out of Auburn there, but selected a little bit higher than his projection. Now the Chargers at 56, they go with Tim Hyde, left tackle out of Iowa. Had a very bad combine, but pretty good traits across the board. Now the Packers at 57 go with Jaden McLeod. So that corner that we really liked, very good testing for him. Probably the best, corner at the combine, but the Packers go with him. So now the Pittsburgh Steelers back on the clock. Will revisit the overall draft board as Earl Riddick, the top guy. David Madden, quarterback from Nevada, also up here. And a big drop off until, more watch listed guys. We have Justin Walker, corner from Clemson, Stan Snowden from Baylor, Devontae Brackens from Oregon, Tyler Drew, linebacker from Florida. So it's clear to me at this point, Sexton and Richter, two guys we definitely want. I think those are our top options at this point, unless maybe David Madden up here slips a little bit more, but I don't think we have to focus on a trade up at this spot. I think we can finish this second round out as the Steelers go running back Avery Wiggins. So a big run on running backs here in the second round. I think 4 or 5 maybe off the board. Now Buffalo, they go with Chester Davis, outside linebacker. The Eagles back on the clock here as they go Dion Austin, D tackle. And the last 4 selections here, Lions, Antonio Montgomery. So they add Antonio Montgomery there with David Montgomery in that backfield. Now the Jets go David Madden. So the Jets select a quarterback there to maybe succeed Aaron Rodgers. The free agency market had no quarterbacks available, so the Giants get Glenn Tyson. The Jets here get David Madden. And now the NFC champion Dallas Cowboys are going to select Justin Walker, corner from Clemson, who we did have on our watch list. And now the Chiefs back up here, the last pick of this second round, as they select Stan Snowden, outside linebacker from Baylor. So now here into the third round, our next pick is at 75, and as I said, we are hoping for Jerry Sexton. I also would like to trade up and maybe select that tight end, Damon Richter. I think those are 2 guys available at this spot. They're just pretty, far and away better than the rest of the players on our board, just a little bit a tier ahead of everyone else. So I think those are our last 2, main priorities in this draft. And then we'll just kind of let the rest play out and see how that goes. So we'll sim a few more here. Seattle goes with Earl Riddick, projected first rounder at points during the season, but falls all the way here to the third round. Safety there out of Colorado. Jacksonville goes with Andrew Drummond at tight end. So with that, we might have to move up a little bit if we want to get Damon Curley. And now Tennessee, they go with Bradley Stoudemire, a right guard. Now New England at pick 68, they go with Shaq Dane. And I wonder if we can maybe package a 5, a 6, and a 7 to trade up to 69, although I don't know if that's going to get it done, but we'll try it. As I said, obviously we're being a little bit more aggressive trying to trade up, even though we've only had 1 successful attempt so far. So I'll put 69. We would like to keep pick 75 if we can. So if we package 5, 6, and a 7, and that's not even close. So I don't think a trade up really in the cards for us at this point. Although I did forget we have 2 4s for next season, so maybe we try and move one of those along with maybe a 5th rounder. So a 4 and then 133 for 69. And that's not even close. What if we add in like 3 7-rounders? Let's get rid of these 7th round picks. And that's not even close either. So we might just have to sim it a little bit. Luckily for us, our guys that we're targeting were a little bit further down the board, but we'll see. Tyler Drew there to Las Vegas, which now makes me very nervous about Sexton, because as I mentioned, we did see a big run on linebackers in last year's class. Jerry Sexton, our top target at this point. So I think maybe trying to work a trade up with Chicago, moving up 5 spots. We could probably just add in like 2 7s, and that might be enough to get it done, but I would like to acquire another 3rd rounder if we can, but I'm not sure if we have the means. So we'll do 75 and then a 7. Is a 7 enough to move up 5 spots? Not quite. We'll try and package another one. So we're going to try pick 75, 3 7s, and a 6 to move up 5 spots. I don't really like that, though. It's kind of a lot. Chicago had no need for a middle linebacker, so we'll sim ahead a couple more picks as they go Chad Johnson, not Chad Ochocinco, but Chad Johnson, D tackle from Penn State. Simulate through Cleveland. They go Trevante Reddick, running back. So can we make it 3 more picks for Jerry Sexton? I think we'll just send it and try and see if we can make it. as the Giants go with Devontae Brackens, another linebacker, off the board. So now Washington is on the clock, followed by Miami, and I'm very nervous here as Washington goes DeMarc Wilcox. So now just one more pick here. The Dolphins, they go with Eric Humphrey, so we don't have to trade up. We do get our guy, and even though linebacker not the biggest need, I'm a big believer in going best player available, and Jerry Sexton sure looks the part with a round 1 to 2 grade, field general, 6'3", 226, B for block, shed, tackle, zone. Tested arguably the best among all linebackers in this year's class. A awareness, B for block, shed, catching, zone, tackle, C for man, play rec, pursuit, hit power. The finesse move going to be at A or B, so very well balanced linebacker with a lot of upside with that athletic profile. Not sure why I just clicked off him there, but he is going to serve as our third pick now in this 2026 NFL draft, as Jerry Sexton out of UW is now going to be a Salt Lake City Snowhawk. We go guard, offensive tackle, corner, and now linebacker, addressing the offensive line obviously on offense, and now the back seven on defense. As we'll see Jerry Sexton there at home with the fam, and the vibes are good there as he comes back 36th in true value, and we drafted him more than double the spots later. Scouting report, quick enough to stay with most tight ends and halfbacks, shows good technique on wrap-up tackles, and shows great range and pursuit. Another hidden development guy, 90 speed there at middle linebacker, 91 acceleration, 84 agility, 79 strength. So now all 4 picks have had hidden development. Very good traits as well. So we have kind of burned through all our picks there with the trade-ups, or with the one trade-up, I should say, as we're now 75 picks through this year's draft, and we'd really want Damon Richter. I think we'll try to simulate maybe to pick 80 there for Atlanta, and maybe try to work a trade up as another tight end off the board there, Rich Hoskins to Tampa Bay. So maybe we might have to try and work a trade a little bit sooner than we wanted, although we're currently at pick 77. Richter rated at 91 on the overall board, so we might still have a little bit of leeway until he's off the board, but again, we don't really want to risk it. I think now we can try and make that 4th round pick for next year that we got from Philadelphia the centerpiece of a trade up here in the middle of the 3rd round. We'll try here with Indy, as we're going to try and get pick 77 here. We'll give them a 4 next year, that pick from the Eagles, as we said. And then it's also going to take probably a 6, maybe 2 7s as well. And we'll see where that puts us. Not good at all. What if we go with 2 more 7s? Quite the package there, and still not even close. So probably going to have to simulate maybe another 10 spots or so at this stage if we want to get a decent value on trading up. As the Colts, they knew we were going to go for Damon Richter, and that's exactly who they selected. Damon Richter there, tight end out of UCLA. I think going to be a very good player there to the Colts. And that will kind of move it along a little bit quicker here. Really no main priorities anymore. We'll just simulate into day 4. Another tight end off the board there to Denver. Javonte Hillhouse to Cincinnati, a good middle linebacker prospect. Saints go with a safety. Another tight end there to Minnesota. They go with Jared James. We'll just take another quick look here at our board. And no one that we really need. Definitely going to pick one of these running backs on day 3 in Paul Wesley or Joshua Noble. Dalton Shepard, like him at D end. Sean James, a decent running back. We talked about Dom Gilmore, power rusher. Really like Devon Williams as well, off-ball linebacker, even though we did draft one already. But our next pick, not until 133, so we have quite a ways to go. I think we'll just simulate the rest of the picks here in the 3rd round. And then we might go ahead and just simulate the entirety of the 4th round. Probably not going to work up any trades anyway, so really no matter of dragging on the process. Just quickly going through here, Rakeem Bass, a good D tackle there to the Steelers. We had him on our board. Calvin Adams, a good tight end to the Bills at 91 overall there out of USF. J.D. Ross, 87th overall to the Ravens, a good pass coverage specialist at middle linebacker. The Eagles go with Anthony Bowden, tight end, who we had on our board. Lions go with a receiver. Eagles up again. They go with Niles Sellers, a strong safety. Now the Cowboys go Shaquille Lowry, outside linebacker. Now the Chiefs to close out the 3rd round. We'll see when that one pops up. We are a little bit behind up on the top right, as the Chiefs went with Devon Williams out of Oregon State, who I just said I really like. And now we have no selections here in the 4th round. Really no one that we need to trade up for. So like I said, we'll just let it ride, hoping for one of these running backs later on in Paul Wesley or Joshua Noble, as they're really the last guys we're looking at here in the round 3 to 4 range. But I would expect all these guys, these top 6 that we have available, all projected to go off the board here in the 4th round. As I said, we are just going to sim ahead through the entirety of this round, which now brings us into pick 129. We have 133 now in this 5th round, in addition to a 6th rounder and 4 7-rounders. So we still have quite a bit of picks here. Probably going to trade a few of them to just accumulate more for next year. And we see all those running backs off the board. Even Sean James, who we had as a day 3 guy. So we still have David Bramble here, safety from Washington, 5'11", 199. Fastest 40 time of any safety at 4.47. Second vertical jump, decent 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle. C for awareness, pursuit zone. D for block shed. So a decent safety, decent athlete as well. We also have Roy Towns here, wide receiver, as the Seahawks go with Chad Armstrong, a corner, to start the 5th round. Someone we had on our watch list. Roy Towns, a 4.41, 38-inch vertical jump. Very good 3-cone with B deep route, B run block. But the spec catch, medium route, catching traffic at D with C catching. So a decent receiver, nothing special, but you really can't expect much at this stage in the draft. Those 2 quarterbacks are there. Will Mincy out of Arkansas, Chris Woodard from Florida State, Dom Gilmore, a power rusher, who I'm just intrigued by because he had a draft story on him. Had it not been for that, I really wouldn't even have him on our board. But B block shed, B pursuit, not the best athlete. Finesse move at D. So it's really going to come down to what that power move comes out to. As we are set here, a few more picks. We'll just simulate these next couple as Desmond Wilson goes off the board to the Jaguars, a good D tackle who I talked about earlier in this episode. Titans go with right tackle Johnny Farmer, and the Patriots go with Jaleel Wise, a corner we had on our board. So these teams, really up on who we're targeting, which I think does bode well for our scouting process. I think we're identifying even some of these later round guys as who's talented, who's really not. As we have a couple around 3 to 4 guys here. David Bramble, who we talked about, Roy Towns, but I like Gilmore. I like Mincy, Woodard a little bit more. Also Calvin Dunn here as center. I did say I would like to add a backup center. A impact, B awareness with C run block. That pass block though going to be C or F. Tested top 5 in every category. Although the pass block power at F, not good there. So I don't know if I really want to take Calvin Dunn at this spot. Our last running back on the board as far as draftable guys go is Kyron Baker out of Yale. C break tackle, carrying the ball carrier vision there at C to F. But had the top vertical jump, broad jump, 3-cone, and 20-yard shuttle at the combine. Ran a 4.45, so maybe the best athlete at running back in this entire class. But just F juke move, F stiff arm, so not really the most dynamic runner, even though he does have the athletic ability. So I'm not really sure. I think Gilmore is what I'm most inclined to go with at another pass rusher, power rusher. As I said, an area we want to target. I am most tempted by those quarterbacks, but they're way down the board, closer to the 200, so I don't think we really have to worry about them too much at this point. But we will definitely monitor them and see if we want to work a trade up. So I think we are going to go with Dom Gilmore. Just take a flyer on him here in the 5th round. At one point projected to go to us at 12 overall in one of those mock drafts, but falls all the way here to the early 5th round. As we are going to go ahead and select Dom Gilmore out of UTEP. Hopefully we get some hidden development there with that draft story. It usually doesn't correlate 100% of the time, but I feel like there is a good hit rate on that, monitoring those draft stories in the season. I feel like you can usually identify some guys who are going to come back as hidden development. As Dom Gilmore, welcome to the NFL, but not a good pick by any means. He comes back as 246 in true value, and we drafted him at 133. Possesses devastating bull rush to create interior pressure. We'll have trouble keeping up with tight ends and running backs. Average recognition leads to inconsistent play. And they're talking about his coverage ability, but we're not going to have him in coverage at all. We're going to move him up to DN on the defensive line. 80 speed with just 72 strength. B block shed, really going to dictate his overall is that power move. They're at B to D, but B pursuit, not a good pick there in Dom Gilmore, but I was just super intrigued based on that draft story he had earlier in the season. And really just one of those quarterbacks I think we want at this point. We'll simulate really until one of them goes off the board and then try to work a trade up as Kyler Baker, that running back, goes to the Giants. And then Will Mincy there to Washington. So I think now at this spot we'll try and work a trade up for that other quarterback. Can't really remember his name at this point, but with so many 7th round picks, I'm hoping at this stage, now into the 5th round, we can package a couple 7s and try and get a 5th in exchange. We'll go 204 and 203, see if that does it for us. As not even close, so we'll try a 6 and then 2 7s. Try and get up here to 138. And it's declined. Not too far off, though. I think we might be able to get away with it by adding another 7. And let's see, 3 7s and a 6, and that is accepted. So it's good to see another trade up finally work out for us here in the later stages of the draft. I think I would have preferred Will Mincy too, but I don't mind settling for that other quarterback we were looking at here, Chris Woodard. B, deep accuracy. C, for medium and short. 6'5", 234. Strongest arm in the class with that bench press at 18 reps at the pro day. Elite throw power. Skill-wise, D, throw on the run. B to D, under pressure. C, play action. But, a strong arm, deep accuracy, a different mold than what we have on the roster with Jake Browning as our backup quarterback. Now, Chris Woodard, we bring a young quarterback into the organization. We'll see if we can develop him and try and be a backup here to Lucas McDonald down the road. But I don't mind, going quarterback here on day 3. As I've been mentioning throughout the episode, very good return on investment here. Quarterbacks typically have. And we'll see how Woodard, a very big guy out of Florida State, 6'5", 234, I think, with a very, very strong arm. But another reach here, as we have not drafted well on day 3. I think every selection in this franchise so far made within the first 3 rounds have been star development or hidden development at least. But all our 5th round picks or beyond have just not really been good. 306 in true value. We get him at 138 off that trade up. Maintains mechanics and accuracy under pressure. Can he make all the throws and struggles with intermediate accuracy? 94 throw power, though. You really like that. A very strong arm. 72 speed, 69 strength. And we'll see if Woodard develops into a backup quarterback, or maybe, he never even sees a snap in the NFL. So with that, we now have, I think, just 1 or 2 more selections in this 2026 NFL draft. We'll just advance to user pick, which is going to take us all the way into the 7th round now. Our last pick here at 204. Let's take a look at our draft board, see what we're working with. I wouldn't expect many, draftable guys still available here, although Roy Towns, around 3 to 4 projections, still on the board, along here with David Bramble as well. Not sure what that's about. We had some undrafted guys that we were looking at, though. And I mentioned Chauncey Washington earlier. This might be a total flop, but I don't want to risk him becoming an undrafted free agent at 6'7", 236, 22 years old. With that athletic profile, tremendous upside there. Tested number 1 in every category at the combine besides bench press. Elite there for acceleration, agility, jumping, and speed. The skills, a lot of work to be done. F for run blocking, D for medium route, F for impact block, and then pretty much everything else there at C to F. But you can't pass on this upside at this stage in the draft. Very well, could come back as like a 58 overall, just super raw, which I kind of expect, but we're going to take the risk here. We'll select Chauncey Washington, tight end out of Georgia, with our last selection here in this 2026 NFL draft. So let me know what you think. It definitely did not go to plan. I was really hoping for a lot more, hyped it up a lot. Was hoping for Chris Whitworth or maybe Delvin Barner there, but just not how it ended up. But even so, I am happy with this draft class. We got Cade Moreland, Jamie McLean, both guys who are going to upgrade our offensive line as Washington comes back as a 358 in true value, former high school power forward. So I definitely thought he might have had a basketball background. Excellent speed for a tight end, inconsistent hands, but hidden development here on a 7th round tight end. So even though he was not good based on true value, I'll always take hidden development here in the 7th round. 89 speed, 87 jumping agility, 90 acceleration, only 67 speed. But Chauncey Washington, tremendous upside here from this tight end out of Georgia, and a very good way to cap off this draft. We also got Nathan Scruggs, a corner with hidden development. Jerry Sexton, a linebacker with hidden development. So overall, a very good draft, I would say. Came in with 13 picks. We did not make that many selections, though. But also, you have to keep into consideration that we did add a first rounder for next year as we continue the theme here of carrying on extra first round picks into the next season. Of course, last year it was Tampa Bay who we had their first round pick. But at this stage, we're just going to go ahead and simulate the rest of the draft. Resume it. Sim to the end. And again, let me know what you thought. I thought it was a lot of fun, this draft. As I said, probably had a little bit higher hopes, but I really like what we were able to accomplish. We'll go to draft recap here. We'll take a look at these overall ratings for the first time as Cade Moreland comes back at 84 overall, the top player in this year's draft class. We are going to move him over to left guard, though. 84 for agile, already a scheme fit with 97 strength, already the 8th ranked right guard in the league. 79 for run block, 80 for pass block. The lead block at 90, impact at 88. The run block power and pass block power are going to have to get a little bit improvement, but 84 overall. I don't know if I've ever seen a player that highly rated coming out of a draft class here in Madden. We also added Jamie McLean here, 74 overall. Going to put him over to right tackle with the signing of Ekonwu, another hidden development guy. Only 79 strength, but very good pass blocker, although the run block finesse at 65, the run block power at 67, and the run block as a whole at 70. So definitely going to have to improve as a run blocker. But I think we'll have him at right tackle. Maybe a spot we might try to improve next year. Maybe kick him inside to guard. Although we already have Samuels and Moreland at guard, so hopefully McLean can develop as a starting caliber tackle for us. Nathan Scruggs, got him at 35 overall, another hidden development guy, 75 overall man corner, 91 speed, 92 acceleration, 90 agility, 77 man in zone, so pretty well balanced there with 73 press. And I'm hoping he can be a good counterpart there for Max Melton. Also Kendall Fuller, who we signed in free agency. Jerry Sexton comes back as a 74 overall, hidden development at middle linebacker, field general, 90 speed, 85 tackle, 91 acceleration, 73 block shed, 65 zone, 65 finesse. So pretty well-rounded linebacker, as we said throughout the draft process. So we came into this draft with 13 picks. We end up making only 7 selections. All our guys here on day 3 were 65 overall or less. Dom Gilmore here comes back at 65 overall power rusher, but going to move him to D end, which should see his overall go up a couple points, you would think. 80 speed, 76 block shed with 76 power move. So that came back pretty high, 77 pursuit with good acceleration. The strength, though, wish it was a little bit higher at just 72. Someone who's probably going to be on the practice squad here in his rookie season. Then we had Chris Woodard, who we traded up for. Drafted him one spot after Mincy there. 64 overall strong arm quarterback at 94 throw power. Already has some boost there with +2 to deep accuracy, +2 to under pressure, +1 for awareness. So decent skill set to build off here for Chris Woodard. Probably can develop maybe into a backup quarterback for us. And then we finished it off here with Chauncey Washington. Only a 62 overall vertical threat, but hidden development. Think he's going to be a good player down the line. It might take a long time, but you love the athleticism to build off of with 89 speed, 90 acceleration, but the catching at just 71, deep route at 70. Everywhere else, though, pretty low. The spec catch at 76, but that catch in traffic, the route running, the blocking needs a lot of work, but we'll take a hidden development in the 7th round every single time, especially when they're a projected undrafted free agent. So that is the draft class here in year 2 of this Snowhawks franchise. We get Cade Moreland, who's going to be probably the best interior lineman in the entire NFL at some point soon. McLean, hopefully a good offensive tackle. Nathan Scruggs, going to be a good corner. Jerry Sexton, a good linebacker. All these guys with hidden development. We also add a first rounder for next year. Now we'll kind of scroll through the teams here. DeAndre Weber, 77 overall, so a couple points better than Nathan Scruggs. Another hidden development guy, so pretty even there with what we ended up with. The Titans went with David Witt at 3rd overall. Comes back as a 73 overall player with normal development, so it looks like they missed on another quarterback selection there in the first round. We'll just try and cruise through here pretty quickly now. Chris Whitworth at 78 overall. Hidden development. Looks like we missed out on a potential lockdown corner. 93 speed acceleration. Just 74 man, but 82 zone. I'm assuming he'll be a superstar guy, but who knows? Maybe even Scruggs for us comes back as a superstar guy. Lippett, Chris Johnson. The Broncos took Jeff Underwood, our backup plan there at corner. Does come back with hidden development. 95 speed acceleration jumping with 6'3 size on the outside. A very good skill set to work off of with 79 man, 76 zone. So I think it's definitely safe to say Underwood was the 2nd best corner in this year's class behind Chris Whitworth, as they also added Antoine Barrett, 79 overall running back. Nicholas Slake, a 75 overall blocking tight end. The Browns selected Delvin Barner, who comes back as a 73 overall, but does have that hidden development. So McLean is a higher rated player, and he does have hidden development as well. Delvin Barner, 66 there for pass block and run block power, 67 for pass block power. Very good athlete, though, but does have a lot of blemishes there for, a top 10 offensive tackle. So maybe in hindsight, a little bit better that we missed out on him. The Chiefs selected Devon Williams, linebacker out of Oregon State there in the final pick in the 3rd round. Comes back as a 75 overall, very good player. 86 speed, 78 block shed, 92 acceleration, just normal development, but as a late day 2, early day 3 guy, you'll take that. The Colts took Damon Richter there in the 3rd round. Comes back as a 72 overall, not hidden development, so I feel a little bit better about that. I thought for sure he would be hidden development. Pretty solid prospect, but probably not worth a trade up that we were working for in that spot. The Commanders took a couple guys we were looking at. Mitch Floyd here at number 9 overall, I believe it was. Comes back as a 72 overall tackle. Also hidden development, but very low ratings there, kind of like Barner in pass block, run block power, and pass block power. So McLean, might be the better tackle. I don't know if that's bias in hindsight, but Floyd and Barner definitely not as can't miss as I thought they would be. Jason Pugh, a very good guard. They were able to steal there in the 2nd round. Also hidden development, as Washington doing a good job of bolstering their offensive line. They also drafted Will Mincy here in the 5th round, 67 overall scrambler, And he comes back as hidden development, so we just missed out on Mincy. He's going to have very good trade value, backing up Jaden Daniels over the years. 94 throw power for a scrambler, 84 speed, 90 acceleration, decent accuracy there in the short and medium phases of the field. So Washington, a very good quarterback they get there in the 5th round. We just missed on him as we had to settle for Woodard instead. We talked about Damon Curley a lot, tight end from Arizona State, and he does come back with that hidden development. 76 overall vertical threat, 89 speed, 86 catching traffic, and spec catch there in the high 70s with the route running all there in the mid to high 60s. So Curley going to be a very good tight end there for the Dolphins, as they also added Jerry Gilmore there in the 1st round, 77 overall. The 49ers selected Christine Cameron in the 1st round, one of the offensive tackles we were looking at. He comes back as a 73 overall with hidden development. But again, that run block power, pass block power, very low there, both in the 60s, the pass block at just 70. So really all the offensive tackles in this year's class, a lot of work to do. Although McLean, he might be the most finished product, but maybe just not the highest ceiling compared to the other guys. I was surprised to see the Giants go Dimitri Dupree there in the 1st round at 8th overall, but the power back does have hidden development, 87 speed, 93 carrying with 85 truck and stiff arm, 86 strength. So Dupree and Henry going to be quite the tandem there for the Giants this season. They also go quarterback Glenn Tyson out of Notre Dame in the 2nd round, comes back with hidden development, 71 overall scrambler, pretty solid across the board there with 91 speed, trying to resurrect this Giants franchise. Aaron McClure went 2nd off the board there to the Jags. He does have hidden development, so looks to be a better quarterback than David Witt, who went the next pick there to the Titans. Pretty good accuracy, good, decent arm strength. Not the most athletic, but we'll see if they go with him over Trevor Lawrence. Going to be a weird situation there. Justice Core, one of the top centers we were talking about, does come back with hidden development. So the Jets did select a quarterback here. They go with David Madden out of Nevada. So two new quarterbacks here in the Big Apple for both of these teams. They look pretty similar on paper. We'll see how they develop here for the Jets and Giants there in those big markets. Donovan Davis, a corner there at pick 30. Only normal development, so glad we missed out on him and we're able to get Nathan Scruggs instead, who has that star development at least. Sean James, a running back we were thinking about. Only normal development, so really didn't miss much on him. And now our rival Rams, they go with Ben Murray, the top tight end in this year's class. Does have that hidden development at 73 overall. Very good speed at 89 with good acceleration at 91. Decent route runner, good hands to start. So Ben Murray going to add another element there for the Rams offense. Although they have fired Sean McVay, who's now the offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. And then Chris Mack for the Ravens, they picked him in the 2nd round. I had a feeling he was going to come back as hidden development, as he does. 70 overall power rusher, 87 strength with 76 power move. We had our focus scouting on him during the season. Came back as a round 3 to 4 grade, but comes back as a 70 overall. So I'm not sure if that always correlates the best. The Saints, they took Aries Burgess here. We really liked him, power rusher, and he does come back as a hidden development, 74 overall there in the 2nd round, 90 strength with 69 block shed, 77 power move. Going to be a good power rusher there for the Saints. They also get Justin Barton, only 65 overall, though. Thought he'd be a little bit better. And now here the Seahawks, they get Byron Snow, 79 overall quarterback. And of course, he does have the hidden development, as the Seahawks' new hopes now all lie on the shoulders here of Byron Snow, 94 throw power, short and medium accuracy already there in the high to mid 80s. The deep accuracy needs some work, but otherwise pretty well rounded. Decent athletic traits for a field general quarterback, as we are going to battle McDonald against Snow now. Is going to be the new quarterback matchup that the league always looks at. Damon Finch, Earl Riddick, they get a couple good safeties as well. Joshua Noble at 70 overall. Only normal development. Thought he might be hidden development based on that draft story, but I think that is going to do it here. So this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I know the offseason episode typically goes a little bit longer, but we have to do our due diligence. We have to be thorough and do the best possible job that we can here with our Salt Lake City Snowhawks. So now we're done with year 2 offseason. We're heading into year 3, and I think this roster is much improved than what we've been working with through this franchise, especially going back to episode 1 or 2 with that roster. But Cade Moreland going to be a long-time interior lineman for us as we continue to shore up that unit. We added a few other pieces. We added a bunch in free agency as we spent a lot of money. I think we spent upwards of like $120 million in free agency, adding a few good pieces, drafting a few good pieces as well. So as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.